Chapter 342. While they were talking, a purple light suddenly shone in the void. All the cultivators on the square couldn't help but look at it. Looking again, a purple figure directly landed on the side of the Undying Kingdom. The eyes of the elders of the Undying Kingdom slightly brightened. The people of the corpseless sect finally came. I am here to help the battle under the order of Envoyee. Greetings to the elders of the Undying Kingdom. The purple figure cupped his hands at Qin Yui and the others. His voice was slightly hoarse, but the hood covered his face, so his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. At this moment, if Sumo was here, he would be very familiar with the purple figure. Ghost Shadow, Mu Wang, and the other puppets were all wearing the same purple clothes. When the purple figure appeared, the elders of the Undying Kingdom all let out a long breath. Because this not only meant that there was one more Undying Realm peak, it also meant that behind the Undying Kingdom stood the incomparably powerful and mysterious corpseless sect. That envoy didn't break his promise. At this moment, it was already past the hour of the morning. This was the time that they had discussed with each other yesterday. Envoy Guan, can we start now? Our people are all here. The one who spoke on the side of the Undying Kingdom was Feng Zheng, who had sent the letter of challenge. Although he was also at the Undying Realm Peak and was one of the elders, he was usually very low-key. But this time, the communication with the Northern Chill City was basically done by him. If it's convenient, we can wait for another hour. Guan Xiong looked at the sky and said casually, okay. Guan Xiong's answer surprised Feng Zheng. Could it be that the other side still hasn't arrived? But since the other side had made a request, it was not too excessive. So Feng Zheng agreed. The other cultivators should also be here in half an hour. Feng Zheng returned to his side, reported the situation, and waited quietly. Old Bai, do you think Sumo will come? Guan Xiong raised his eyebrows. Actually, he was not worried that Sumo would lose if she didn't come, but Sumo didn't come back on time, so he was a bit worried. According to his understanding of Sumo, she would definitely not avoid the battle, so it was very likely that there was a problem. It's hard to say, Bai Yuesheng smiled faintly. However, it doesn't matter whether little brother Su comes or not. That Mo's unique treasure is in his hands. Guan Xiong smiled. Yesterday, didn't the Undying Kingdom ask us if we brought that treasure? Fine, I won't bring it. Anyway, we won't lose, and even if we lose, we don't intend to admit it. Hee. Bai Yuesheng had a cunning look on his face, as expected of a businessman. Old Bai, you're being unreasonable, Guan Xiong said righteously. If we lose, we do have to hand over the treasures. After all, we've agreed that we can't go back on our words. And then? Bai Yuesheng sneered, looking as if he didn't know what was going on. Then we will destroy the Undying Kingdom and snatch it back. Guan Xiong squinted his small eyes. That's unnecessary. Bai Yuesheng said. Eldest miss, that's my plan, Guan Xiong said casually. It should be so. The process is still necessary. Bai Yuesheng immediately smiled apologetically. Guan Xiong looked at Bai Yuesheng and said, later, you could just treat me to a meal at the Drunken Immortal Inn. You said that eldest miss wanted to do unnecessary things, so let's forget about it. Okay. Bai Yuesheng hated himself for being so talkative and stopped talking. Guan Xiong, where's eldest miss? This time it was a middle-aged man next to Guan Xiong who asked. The man had sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He had a dignified appearance, and his entire body was emitting an awe-inspiring aura. He was none other than the Northern Chill City's Sword Tower's Pavilion Master, Chun Jianfeng. Chun Jianfeng was known as the #1 expert below the Undying God Realm in Northern Chill City. He was also publicly recognized as someone who would ascend to the Undying God Realm in less than 10 years. He was Miao Long's first choice. Guan Xiong, Sumo, and Chun Jianfeng. This was the original arrangement of Northern Chill City. It didn't matter if they won or lost. It would be best if they won, but it didn't matter if they lost. That was why Miao Long sent Guan Xiong and even Sumo. In theory, neither of them had the possibility of winning against a Grand Circle Undead Realm expert. However, Miao Long wanted to force them to unleash their potential. Pavilion Master Chun. Guan Xiong and Chun Jianfeng's tone was obviously more serious. Eldest Miss won't show herself for now, but she will protect us in secret. I heard that there are 2 undying God Realm experts in the Heavenly Speech Palace. Eldest Miss has already locked onto the Heavenly Speech Palace. Oh, Chun Jianfeng's lips curled up when he heard that. The other cultivators of Northern Chill City also smiled knowingly. Undying God Realm experts were nothing in front of Eldest Mississippi. If they really fought, the 2 undying gods would probably be killed by Miao Long or before they could even come out. 2 undying God Realm experts are nothing to worry about. This time, it was a hunchbacked old man who spoke. He had white hair, a goatee, and a bulging back. He looked like he was in his 70s or 80s. In reality, cultivators who reached the undying realm were all 1,000-year-old or even 10,000-year-old monsters. After all, there was only one sumo. The hunchbacked old man was the top alchemist of Northern Chill City's Elixir Pavilion. His surname was Gong Yang, and his first name was Kong. Gong Yang Kong wasn't just an alchemy master. He was also good at scheming. Old Kong, what do you mean? Guan Xiong asked. There's something strange about the cultivator in a purple robe who suddenly appeared. Gong Yang Kong stroked his goatee and turned around to look at a female cultivator next to him. Qing, did you feel that? Qing was the only female cultivator in Guan Xiong's group. Gong Yang Qing was Gong Yang Kang's grandniece. She looked to be in her early 20s. She had the countenance of a flower and the face of the moon, and was extremely beautiful. But she was also a perfected undead state cultivator and a spirit cultivator. Spirit cultivators were known to be invincible among their peers. As a female cultivator, Gong Yang Qing's level was second only to the City Lord and Miao Long, in the entire Northern Chill City. That cultivator in a purple robe isn't human. Gong Yang Qing frowned. My spirit mouse reacted. There's no sign of life on that cultivator. Everyone in Northern Chill City knew that Gong Yang Qing's spirit mouse could distinguish the level of cultivators and spirit beasts. Of course, it could also tell if a cultivator was a cultivator or not. Oh, Guan Xiong couldn't help but smile. A puppet? If he's a helper of the undead kingdom, things will get interesting when Sumo arrives. Let's see whose puppet is more powerful. Hee, a puppet. Guan Xiong had a smile on his face. He knew how powerful Sumo's puppet was. Not to mention that Su Mo had fused into a god-burying puppet at Training Arena 5 that day. When it came to puppets, Su Mo could crush them in seconds. The undead kingdom is betting the whole country against the strong. The mysterious cultivator in a purple robe is probably their trump card. Gong Yang Kong reminded them. Guan Xiong, don't forget, among the infinite worlds, which force could play with puppets to the point of perfection and reach the pinnacle. So, we have to be careful. Guan Xiong narrowed his eyes after hearing Gong Yang Kang's words. The others also understood Gong Yang Kang's words. The corpseless sect was playing with puppets. Smiley face, smiley face. Chapter 343. Half an hour passed by quickly. Fang Zheng of the Undying Kingdom asked Guan Xiong again. Envoy Guan, it has already been an hour. I don't think there's a need to wait any longer. If we wait any longer, it will be noon. It doesn't matter if it's noon. We are not in a hurry, Guan Xiong said. Envoy Guan, if that's the case, I think the Northern Chill City should just admit defeat. Otherwise, it wouldn't be right to keep delaying the war. Fang Zheng sneered. Hearing this, Guan Xiong sighed. Elder Fang, I originally wanted to let your undying kingdom be lively for a while. However, I didn't expect you to be so anxious to lose. All right, let's fight. Guan Xiong reckoned that Sumo wouldn't be able to make it in time, so there was no point in waiting. It would be better to start a war. The sooner the better. Therefore, he waved his hand and announced loudly. This left Fang Zheng speechless. Originally, he wanted to shout loudly to raise the morale of the Undying Kingdom. He didn't expect Guan Xiong to snatch the opportunity. The battle has begun. It's finally time to fight. Undying Kingdom will win. Long live the immortal empire, immortal and eternal. After all, this was the Undying City, the home ground of the Undying Dynasty. Therefore, after Guan Xiong announced the start of the battle in a very domineering manner, the entire square was filled with cheers like a tide. However, they were all from the Undying Kingdom's side. There were only 6 people on the Northern Chill City's side. They were too lazy to shout, and they probably wouldn't be able to outdo the other party. Guan Xiong curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Childish." Then, Guan Xiong didn't say anything else. He waved his hand, and it seemed like he was giving orders. Guan Xiong had the highest status in the Northern Chill City. Therefore, he really had to wave his hand at this time. Chun Jianfeng, first round. Chun Jianfeng was already prepared. With a faint smile, he floated to the center of the square and stood with his hands behind his back. The shouts of the Undying Kingdom rose and fell. Chun Jianfeng could not help but raise his eyebrows. In an instant, the aura of the undead realm's great perfection spread out. Then, all the shouts suddenly stopped. Northern Chill City. Chun Jianfeng seeks guidance from fellow Taoist Undying Kingdom. Chun Jianfeng's voice did not seem to be loud. However, apart from those at the undead realm, all the cultivators felt the thunderous voice rolling over. Miao longer had arranged for Chun Jianfeng to fight. Although winning or losing wouldn't affect them much, it was still better to win. Therefore, Northern Chill City sent Chun Jianfeng in the first round, hoping to win the first round. This way, it would be easier to arrange for the next 2 rounds. The cultivators from the Undying Kingdom raised their brows when they saw the cultivators from the other side coming out from their array. Additionally, they were trying to put on a show of strength. Zhong Yishan and Dongfang Fu looked at each other. Zhong Yishan took the responsibility and said, "Brother Dongfang, I'll take the first battle." As he spoke, his figure flashed and directly appeared on the arena. The elders of the Undying Kingdom slightly nodded. Zhong Yishan had made his move in the first round in order to win. The Heavenly Cloud Palace and the Dongfang family were both top forces in the Undying Kingdom. Both of them had patriarchs bearing God as well. However, Zhong Yishan's combat strength was indeed above Dongfang Fu's. If he were to fight, he would be more confident. "I am Zhong Yishan of the Undead Kingdom's Heavenly Cloud Palace. Please enlighten me, fellow Taoist Chun." Zhong Yishan cupped his fists and said in a clear voice. As soon as his voice was heard, it directly blocked Chun Jianfeng's aura. "Wah! Elder Zhong is mighty. Elder Zhong will win. The Undying Kingdom will win." The cheers of the Undying Kingdom rose again. Zhong Yishan smiled and nodded to his left and right. Chun Jianfeng smiled and said, "Fellow cultivator Zhong, it seems that you are quite popular." "Not at all. I'm ashamed," Zhong Yishan said with a faint smile. "It's just a competition to liven things up. In the end, we still need to focus on cultivation. Otherwise, everything is just empty talk." "Oh," Chun Jianfeng smiled. "Fellow cultivator Zhong, if you were so knowledgeable, why did you challenge the Northern Chill City? The Northern Chill City can destroy a small, undying kingdom in an instant." Zhong Yishan's expression changed slightly, then he sneered. "Fellow cultivator Chun, we all have different paths. The Undying Kingdom challenged the Northern Chill City for a reason. Since we are already on the stage, there is no need to say more. Let's rely on our own strength." "Fine." Chun Jianfeng shook his head. "I just feel pity for your cultivation." "Likewise," Zhong Yishan said. "Please, please." The 2 cultivators said "please" to each other and instantly dispersed their auras. At the same time, a transparent barrier rose directly over the entire square. This barrier contained the power of God Burial, which was to protect the cultivators watching the battle from being affected by the power of their battle. At the same time, the inside and outside of the square were dead silent. Putting aside the many special factors, both sides had indeed sent out their strongest forces. This battle was very important. The 2 cultivators at the great perfection of the Undying Realm attacked almost at the same time. Zhong Yishan raised his hand and took out a magic treasure. It was an ink-colored flying stone. However, it expanded in the wind. In an instant, the flying stone became dozens of feet in size and pressed down like a black cloud. "Dragon Suppressing Stone." That was the undying magic treasure of the heavenly cloud palace. Although it was not very powerful, it was definitely an extraordinary magic treasure. This was also a battle between the great perfection of the undying realm. If it was a battle between the deity tribulation realm, this dragon-suppressing stone would probably decide the final result. However, Chun Jianfeng's expression did not change at all, and he didn't take out any magic treasure. The dragon-suppressing stone flew dozens of feet high and suddenly fell down with the pressure of Mount Tai. Many cultivators of the Undying Kingdom looked nervous. Although they understood that the battle between the great perfection of the Undying Realm would definitely be thrilling, they subconsciously hoped that Zhong Yishan could kill Chun Jianfeng in one blow. On the other hand, the people of the northern Chill City seemed a little distracted when they saw the dragon-suppressing stone falling down. Guan Xiong sneered. Isn't this Zhong Yishan helping Pavilion Master Chen practice his swordsmanship? If a magic treasure of this level can hurt Pavilion Master Chen, we should immediately admit defeat. Hee hee. The others also sneered. That kind of magic treasure could be said to be useless against Chun Jianfeng, because Chun Jianfeng's swordsmanship in the Undying Realm was known to be invincible. Sure enough, Chun Jianfeng suddenly flew up and raised his right hand slightly. Almost no one saw him make any extra movements, but there was already a sword in his hand. The sword was nearly 4 feet long and shaped like a willow leaf. As soon as he attacked, the sword shone brightly. Chun Jianfeng's sword was not aimed at Zhong Yishan, but straight at the dragon-suppressing stone. One pressing down, one rushing up, one black light, one white light. Two powerful forces fiercely collided in the void. Boom! Crack! The entire square was filled with energy waves, causing the void to tremble. At the same time, many fragments fell like stars like rain. Chun Jianfeng's sword destroyed an undying realm magic treasure. Clean, neat, wielding something heavy as if it was light. In an instant, the whole place became silent. This sword was out of the Undying Kingdom's cultivator's expectation. Chun Jianfeng casually landed on the ground. Not a speck of dust could be seen on his body. His sword had disappeared. No one knew where it was hidden. Elder Zhong, if the Undying Kingdom doesn't have a god-burying realm magic treasure, then don't take it out to embarrass yourself. I can tell you, magic treasures below the god-burying realm are useless against me. Chun Jianfeng. Zhong Yishan's expression suddenly changed. Chapter 344. Treasures below the god graveyard realm were useless against Chun Jianfeng. At that moment, Zhong Yishan almost thought that he had misheard. However, he knew that he didn't hear wrongly. You practice the invincible sword. Zhong Yishan said slowly. The invincible sword, as the name suggested, was invincible with a sword in hand. Of course, this did not mean that the person who cultivated this sword would be invincible in the world. It was just that this person was cultivating an invincible aura. Sword cultivation was the choice of many cultivators, but there were only a few who could walk the path of invincibility. Once the immortal sword was unleashed, it could slay the world. It was just a pursuit to the extreme. There were very few cultivators who could do this. However, today, Zhong Yishan encountered Chun Jianfeng. Chun Jianfeng, started from nascent soul, experienced soul transformation, deity tribulation, and immortality. My sword has always been invincible. Chun Jianfeng's words were very calm, because what he said was the truth. In his entire life, Chun Jianfeng had never been defeated by an opponent of the same level. Guan Xiong, who was watching from behind, shook his head and sighed. Old Chun is indeed powerful. Look, he's telling the truth, but no matter how you look at it, it sounds like he's boasting. When the others heard what Guan Xiong said, they didn't know how to respond. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? If you have the ability, call me Old Chun in front of my face. Invincible sword. There is only one person in the northern Chill City, and he was not to be trifled with. Chun Jianfeng was one of the candidates for the northern Chill City's emissary. Their emissary wasn't someone like Guan Xiong who got his position through connections. At this moment, Zhong Yishan steadied his mind. It seems that I've learned something new today. Let me have a taste of your invincible sword." As he spoke, Zhong Yishan formed a seal with both hands, and the aura of the grand perfection undead realm suddenly spread out. The Heavenly Cloud Palace was the #1 immortal sect in the Undying Kingdom, and its status was even higher than the 4 great counties. The Heavenly Cloud Palace's contribution couldn't go unnoticed for the immortal dynasty to have its current scale. It had been established for hundreds of thousands of years, and its disciples were produced in large numbers. Its foundation was extraordinary. Zhong Yishan was just one of them. Therefore, it would be a joke if he was scared off by Chun Jianfeng's invincible sword. Who? Zhong Yishan unleashed his spell. Looking again, Zhong Yishan first grabbed the air with one hand, his 5 fingers emitting a dense white light. At the same time, his body suddenly disappeared. Guan Xiong, who was watching the battle from the northern Chill City, was stunned. He knew that it was definitely not teleportation. The reason being that Zhong Yishan's aura had completely vanished. Space-time spell. Ram Kong raised his eyebrows slightly. He could see a hint of what was going on. When the others heard this, they couldn't help but admire Zhong Yishan's ability. A space-time spell. It was not something that just any cultivator could cultivate. In theory, space-time techniques were something only second-stage, undying cultivators could train in. In other words, one would need to be at least at the Graveyard God realm in order to use space-time magic, even if it was the simplest space-time spell. However, there were always exceptions in this world. For example, the current Zhong Yishan. He was ranked second among the elders of the Undying Kingdom. It was definitely not an undeserved reputation. In fact, that move just now could be considered as the simplest space-time spell. To be more precise, it should be called a space-time technique. Zhong Yishan had only changed his space-time for an instant. That kind of spell was incomparable to the footwork of Sumo and the Little White Pig. However, in a battle of the same level, Zhong Yishan's technique was enough to kill his opponent. In a flash, Zhong Yishan suddenly appeared. However, he appeared 3 feet above Chun Jianfeng's head. 3 feet above his head, a dense white mist could be seen. In fact, the entire process took less than a breath. The cultivators of the northern Chill City all knew Chun Jianfeng's ability, but they were also nervous at the moment. After all, Zhong Yishan's spell was too strange, and it had surpassed the normal undying cultivators. However, everything happened in the blink of an eye. The cultivators of the northern Chill City were just getting nervous. Chun Jianfeng's sword was already piercing towards Zhong Yishan. That was simply an unimaginable sword. It was almost impossible to draw a sword within 3 feet of him. It was like a person using a spear being forced in front of him by a dagger, and his spear could no longer unleash its power. Chun Jianfeng was in that situation just now. However, no one could see how he swung his sword and where it came from. Everyone only saw Chun Jianfeng's sword turn into a ray of white light and pierce towards Zhong Yishan's palm. At this moment, almost everyone was admiring Chun Jianfeng's strike. However, the great elder of the Undying Kingdom, Qin Yui, curled his lips and sneered. The invincible sword is just SOSO. I'm afraid he will be at a disadvantage this time. Qin Yui muttered to himself. His voice wasn't loud. At this moment, everyone was watching the battle in the field. Only a few cultivators around him heard it clearly. At that moment, the few people around him didn't understand what he meant. Swish, swish, there was a new change in the field. Chun Jianfeng could still draw his sword from 3 feet away. Therefore, it was as if Zhong Yishan had sent his hand to Chun Jianfeng's sword. However, at that moment, Zhong Yishan's lips curled into a smile. Swish, boom, it was the same as what most people thought. Chun Jianfeng's sword pierced through Zhong Yishan's palm, and the sword even went up and pierced through the left side of Zhong Yishan's chest. That was the location of the immortal heart. Whoosh! Ah! Countless exclamations came from the direction of the Undying Kingdom. Elder Zhong's immortal heart was pierced through in one move. Most cultivators didn't see any clues. However, Chun Jianfeng, who was in the formation, raised his eyebrows. No! At the same time, Gong Yanqing, who was in the northern Chill City's camp, shouted in a low voice, "Pavilion Master Chun, watch out." Boom! Chun Jianfeng realized the problem. The Zhong Yishan above his head suddenly collapsed and turned into a puff of smoke. Illusion, fake body. That wasn't the real Zhong Yishan. Whoosh! The crowd was in an uproar. Zhong Yishan's skill was a space-time spell combined with a top-notch illusion. It could be passed off as the real one. Just now, apart from Qin Yui, who was familiar with Zhong Yishan, no one else seemed to have seen the truth. All of this happened in almost the same instant. Behind Chun Jianfeng, another Zhong Yishan appeared out of nowhere like a ghost. In his hand, there was a sharp blade. It was a saber. It was a curved machete that was 3 feet long. The saber was special because it was transparent and emitted a cold, murderous aura. Ice Cloud Saber. Bai Yuesheng frowned slightly. That was a famous top-notch, undying divine weapon in the chaotic god continent. According to legend, the Ice Cloud Saber was made from the essence of 10,000 years old mysterious ice. It was so cold that it could even injure a deity burial cultivator. Unexpectedly, this saber was in Zhong Yishan's hand. What a pity! What a pity! Gong Yangkong said 2 pitiful words in a row. He felt disappointed and lucky. However, no one knew what he was trying to say. At this time, no one was thinking about it carefully. In the field. Invincible sword? Let's see if my immortal divine weapon can kill you. Zhong Yishan shouted, his murderous aura overflowing. The Ice Cloud Saber in his hand drew a ray of light in the void and slashed at Chun Jianfeng's head, who said that only a deity burial treasure could kill you. Chapter 345. The Ice Cloud Blade slashed down from the sky. At this moment, most cultivators thought Chun Jianfeng was dead for sure. Even many cultivators from the Undying Kingdom had a glimmer of hope in their eyes. They should win this round. The Ice Cloud Blade was less than a foot away from Chun Jianfeng's neck. Without a doubt, Chun Jianfeng would die at this distance. He couldn't use his sword. Plus, his back was facing Zhong Yishan. At this moment, the entire square was silent, except for Zhong Yishan's blade. People from the Undying Kingdom were waiting to cheer. People from the northern Chill City were a bit nervous. This slash was too sudden. However, at this extremely tense moment, a discordant and disdainful sneer was heard. The one who made that sneer was none other than Chun Jianfeng. The Ice Cloud Blade was a top-grade, undying treasure. But a top-grade, undying treasure was still an undying treasure. And Chun Jianfeng, the pavilion master of the northern Chill City Sword Pavilion, had said that undying treasures were useless against him. Whoosh, crack. Just when everyone from the Undying City thought the Ice Cloud Blade would chop off Chun Jianfeng's head, Chun Jianfeng's neck suddenly emitted thousands of rays of light. At this moment, it was like the rising sun shining brightly. All of a sudden, a sword light shot out and hit the Ice Cloud Blade. The Ice Cloud Blade was a top-grade, undying treasure, and the sword light was just a sword energy spell. However, when the two collided, it was like metal colliding, and the sound was even more earth-shaking. Everyone's soul trembled. Zhong Yishan's Ice Cloud Blade was going to win, but the sword light from Chun Jianfeng's neck contained endless power. It could topple the mountains and overturn the seas. No matter what, Zhong Yishan didn't think this would happen. It could even be said that it was beyond his knowledge. Turning qi into a sword was not surprising. Sword in the hand, sword in the mouth, Zhong Yishan had seen them before. However, Zhong Yishan had never seen or even heard of a cultivator using a sword from the back of their neck. And it was an invincible and tyrannical sword. Crack, crack. Zhong Yishan's wrist shook, and he felt a burst of numbness. An external immortal force penetrated his meridians, and he immediately used his undying force to defend himself. Chun Jianfeng's sword qi unexpectedly penetrated through the spirit weapon. If Zhong Yishan was not at the same level as Chun Jianfeng, then even if he was at the late stage of Undying Realm, he would have been seriously injured. Zhong Yishan was not injured, but his Ice Cloud Saber was broken. Whoosh! The crowd was in an uproar. Even the cultivators of the northern Chill City weren't confident that they could turn the tables around. Guan Xiong Bai Yuesheng and Gong Yanqing heaved a sigh of relief, while Gong Yankong sneered coldly. After all of this was within his expectations. Just now, he said it was a pity because he expected that Zhong Yishan would not succeed. Although Zhong Yishan was an enemy, he felt pity for Zhong Yishan's space-time magic and illusion magic. Ram Kong understood that Zhong Yishan no longer had a chance. That slash just now would definitely anger Chen Jianfeng. With Chen Jianfeng's character, he would not give Zhong Yishan any chance. Therefore, this battle was already over in Gong Yangkong's eyes. Zhong Yishan would be defeated. Gong Yang, don't underestimate Zhong Yishan. The Heavenly Cloud Palace has a divine burial old monster. A voice was heard. It was the sixth cultivator of the northern Chill City. He hadn't said anything before. He was also an old man. He wasn't tall, was skinny, and didn't look too good. He didn't say anything and just watched everything quietly. Huh? Elder Fu, what do you mean? Gong Yankong's expression changed slightly. Elder Fu was an array master of the northern Chill City. No one could surpass him in terms of talisman arrays. Even the 4 envoys and the 8 deputies might not be a match for him in terms of talisman arrays. Besides, Elder Fu had a high status in the northern Chill City. 2 of the 12 envoys of the northern Chill City were his disciples. Elder Fu couldn't advance to the divine burial realm because of some special circumstances back then. Otherwise, he would have advanced a long time ago. This time, Miao Long had asked him to come to the northern Chill City just in case. He didn't want him to fight. If there was a chaotic battle, Elder Fu's array would definitely be useful. Therefore, Elder Fu's main purpose this time was to be prepared for anything. Elder Fu didn't like to talk much, but once he did, it meant that it was very important. Zhong Yishan has a divine talisman protecting him. Elder Fu said, Divine burial talisman? Guan Xiong raised his eyebrows and asked, Elder Fu, can you sense the attribute of that talisman? Ha! Elder Fu shook his head and smiled. Fatty, do you think I'm a divine burial cultivator? Have you forgotten that I've lost my hope of becoming a divine burial cultivator? I can't see through the divine burial talisman. Everyone in the northern Chill City frowned after hearing Elder Fu's words. Meanwhile, everything was still going on. The sword chi behind Chen Jianfeng's neck broke Zhong Yishan's ice cloud saber. The reversal seemed extremely simple, but it was actually a matter of life and death. Gong Yankong was right. Chen Jianfeng was already enraged. He had to kill Zhong Yishan. Swish! At that moment, Chen Jianfeng had already turned around. Elder Zhong, Chen Mao, never lie. If you don't believe me, you won't have a chance anymore. Chen Jianfeng smiled and narrowed his eyes. Everyone in the northern Chill City who knew Chen Jianfeng knew that the Sword Tower Pavilion Master was ready to kill him. Zhong Yishan was confident that he could kill Chen Jianfeng with the Ice Cloud Saber. Otherwise, if he used the Divine Burial Weapon, Chen Jianfeng would already be dead. Zhong Yishan was shocked. He felt the murderous intent and the endless sword chi on Chen Jianfeng's body. At that moment, Chen Jianfeng's aura had already changed. He was a sword that was about to be unsheathed at any time. Chen Jianfeng didn't make a hand seal. However, at this moment, what appeared in his eyes was not what he saw. In his black eyes, there were actually 2 small swords. If someone could see Chen Jianfeng's immortal heart, there would also be a sword there. His Elixir C immortal root was also a sword. There was a sword in his eyes and a sword in his heart. The immortal root had become a sword, and it was an invincible sword. Chen Jianfeng's sword was unstoppable. In fact, everything happened in an instant. Zhong Yishan raised his eyebrows and said coldly, An invincible sword that can destroy all treasures. My body is a sword, and I can change it with a thought. I'm impressed. He finally understood why Chen Jianfeng was able to shoot out a sword from the back of his neck. As long as Chen Jianfeng wanted to, he could turn any part of his body into sword chi. Chen Jianfeng didn't have any Dharma treasures because he didn't need them. He was a sword. He could create a sword with a thought. In an instant, Chen Jianfeng's body disappeared. In the void, a huge long sword pierced through the entire martial arts field, as if it was falling from the sky and landed on the ground. That was an indiscriminate attack, a fatal strike. Whoosh, Qin Yui and the other elders of the Undying Kingdom stood up. Zhong Yishan might not be able to escape from that sword. The entire training field was enveloped by Chun Jianfeng's sword chi. Kill! Chun Jianfeng's cold shout came from the air. It was the sound of a soul being destroyed. Chapter 346. Turning into a sword with a thought. Chun Jianfeng's ultimate move was to turn into a sword. That was a level higher than the unity of man and sword. After all, the unity of man and sword had to be combined to become one. However, Chun Jianfeng turned himself into a sword. There was no fusion process. Chi, boom, the long sword that traversed the void headed straight for Zhong Yishan. The elders of the Undying Kingdom had a drastic change in expression. However, even though they stood up, they couldn't do anything. Before the battle, it was agreed that only the participant could admit defeat. Life or death was not an issue. The battle wasn't over if Zhong Yishan didn't say anything. If the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom intervened, it would be against the rules. The entire battle would lose its meaning. It would give the Undying Kingdom an excuse. But at the same time, they knew that Zhong Yishan didn't have the ability to admit defeat anymore. He was completely suppressed by Chun Jianfeng. The only thing waiting for him was death. It was highly possible. Among all the elders of the Undying Kingdom, only Qin Yui and Dongfang Fu were calm. They were frowning and their lips were tightly shut. There was still a glimmer of hope in their hearts. Zhong Yishan should have a protective item from ancestral patriarch Zongshun of the Heavenly Cloud Palace. Before the battle, the Heavenly Cloud Palace would definitely give Zhong Yishan something to protect himself. At this moment, Chun Jianfeng turned into a sword and attacked. He was unstoppable in the Undying Realm. Only a god-bearing artifact could possibly protect him. The people of the Northern Chill City were also watching the battle. However, they didn't have to worry. Chun Jianfeng lived up to his reputation as the most powerful cultivator below the god level. He should have won this battle, and it didn't seem like he had to pay a high price. However, at this moment, Old Fu and Gong Yanqing raised their eyebrows. Their immortal senses were more powerful than normal cultivators of the Undying Realm. Zhong Yishan was about to die under Chun Jianfeng's sword. A talisman suddenly lit up between his eyebrows. Then a ray of light shot out from his head. God-level Qi, talisman protection. Gong Yanqing and Old Fu said at the same time. Zhong Yishan indeed had a god-level talisman on him. Once the talisman appeared, it turned into a palace. Almost all the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom knew that it was the main hall of the Heavenly Cloud Palace within the borders of the Biting Prefecture. The Heavenly Cloud Palace was the #1 immortal sect in the Immortal Dynasty. When this talisman appeared, the expressions of the elders of the Undying Kingdom eased up a little. If the talisman could not save his life, then Zhong Yishan would have to die. Boom boom, ka. Since Chun Jianfeng had already transformed into a sword, he naturally wouldn't withdraw his attack. That sword was invincible. That sword had no return. The sky-piercing sword pierced straight into the palace, causing a deafening noise that shook the heavens. In the void, light waves scattered in all directions, and then there was the sound of everything shattering. The plaza of the Heavenly Word Hall was protected by a god-burying barrier. Even so, all the cultivators outside the arena could feel the cold, murderous aura sweeping towards the sky. The cultivators with weaker cultivations retreated one after another. The cultivators in the undead realm basically spread out their aura to help the surrounding cultivators resist the pressure. Chun Jianfeng's sword was too overbearing. Boom! Crack! The palace atop Zhong Yishan's head had already begun to crumble. That incomparably huge sword was unstoppable. It seemed like even a god-burying spirit talisman would not be able to stop it. This scene exceeded the expectations of the Undying Kingdom's cultivators. The cultivators of the Northern Chill City couldn't help but frown. Kid Chun, you're going too far. Old Fu shook his head. Apparently, he didn't agree with Chun Jianfeng's way of exhausting himself. Transforming into a sword wasn't something that could be used at will. A god-burying spirit talisman is definitely not easy to deal with. Gung Kong also shook his head. Looks like even if he wins this time, his vitality will be damaged. As they spoke, half of the sky cloud palace atop Zhong Yishan's head had already been destroyed. However, the speed of Chun Jianfeng's sword had also slowed down. After all, that was a god-burying spirit talisman. Zhong Yishan's face was pale. If it wasn't for the ancestral patriarch's life-saving talisman, he would have already died. He had prepared well before this. In fact, he still had a god-burying Dharma treasure on him, but he didn't have the chance to use it now. Zhong Yishan didn't expect the sword cultivator in front of him to have cultivated to this level. However, Zhong Yishan wasn't willing to give up. He still wanted to win. Destroy. Zhong Yishan's face was as red as blood. Jia Qi shouted. He knew that the sword was Chun Jianfeng. Therefore, he chose the explosion talisman. In fact, it was a method that would cause both sides to suffer. Even if the talisman could kill Chun Jianfeng, Zhong Yishan would at least be gravely injured. However, Zhong Yishan couldn't care less at this moment. They were betting on the undying kingdom. They were betting on everything. This was something that the cultivators of the northern Chill City couldn't compare to. Therefore, they were really risking their lives. Not for themselves, but for the undying kingdom. Although they were on different sides, Zhong Yishan was worthy of respect. Before, he didn't agree to challenge the undying kingdom, but since the undying dynasty had made the decision, he would give it his all. Zhong Yishan's eyes were filled with determination. Exploding the god-burying spirit talisman was his only chance. Boom! Rumble! In the void, huge waves surged and spiritual smoke rose in all directions. It was an energy explosion with Zhong Yishan and Chun Jianfeng at the center. At that moment, the cultivators of the undying kingdom and the northern Chill City all had serious expressions on their faces. Zhong Yishan was risking his life. Qin Yui's eyes flashed with sorrow. The undying kingdom was fighting a big battle. Zhong Yishan didn't have much of a choice. Dongfang Fu raised his brows. He understood that he had to risk his life for the second round. Gambling, risking one's life, this was the scariest thing. However, gambling and risking one's life didn't guarantee success. Many people, many things, even if they sacrificed their lives, they still didn't succeed. Most of the time, life wasn't worth much. Zhong Yishan was indeed risking his life. The moment he exploded the talisman, he summoned his strongest defense and retreated as far as he could. In fact, he only had the initiative. If he could hold on for one more breath, he would be able to summon the second god-burying treasure. However, the moment the talisman exploded, he saw that the giant sword was also shattered in an instant. No, it wasn't shattering, it was splitting. It was a conscious splitting. One sword into 10,000 swords. At that moment, Zhong Yishan had an ominous feeling. Everything happened in a split second. The talisman exploded, stirring up the clouds in the air. However, among the clouds, 10,000 golden swords flew out. That scene changed everyone's understanding of the world. Zhong Yishan didn't expect this to happen again. Chun Jianfeng had cultivated to this level, turning himself into a sword. The shape of the sword followed his will. Kill. Zhong Yishan's ears heard the word kill countless times. It was Chun Jianfeng's shout. It was like an army of 10,000 men and horses rolling over. At that moment, Zhong Yishan finally wanted to shout concede. However, it was too late. Boom! Crack! All of his defenses crumbled in an instant. Of course, part of this was due to the god-burying force from the talisman's explosion. In fact, a large portion of the 10,000 sword rays were destroyed by the god-burying force. However, the remaining thousands of sword rays had already pierced through Zhong Yishan's immortal heart and head. Puff, 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 10,000 swords pierced through his body like a sieve. Chapter 347. On the field, the smoke had dispersed, and there was dead silence. Zhong Yishan's body was still standing in the middle of the square, but there were countless holes in his body. His head had almost been pierced into an empty shell, and he was beyond recognition. His body had already become a sieve. The golden blood had started to solidify. That was the unique golden color of the immortal cultivators. But Zhong Yishan's immortal qi hadn't dissipated yet. It was like an ordinary person's body was still warm and hadn't stiffened yet. Hu qi, hu qi. It was dead silent in Tianyu Palace, except for one person's breathing. That person was Chun Jianfeng. Chun Jianfeng was kneeling on one knee behind Zhong Yishan's body. His body was also covered in golden blood. It wasn't Zhong Yishan's blood, but his own. He was covered in blood, which wasn't much better than Zhong Yishan's body. The only difference was that his head was still intact, and his immortal heart wasn't damaged. Chun Jianfeng had survived the explosion of the god-burying spirit talisman and killed Zhong Yishan. He was already at the peak of the immortal realm. It was also a miracle. But even so, Chun Jianfeng's journey to the god-burying path would be delayed for another 20 to 30 years. He had exerted his full power in this battle, which hurt his vitality. That was why Elder Fu didn't think it was worth it. Miss Miao had said that he could lose. What was the point? Chun Jianfeng knew that he could lose, but he had cultivated the invincible sword. How could he lose so easily? Even though he had lost a lot of vitality in this battle, he couldn't let it hurt his mentality. Not only was he unharmed, he became stronger. Fundamentally speaking, this was beneficial to his cultivation after he entered the god-burying path. But it seemed that the loss wasn't worth the gain. Guan Xiong raised his eyebrows and waved his hand. Bai Yuesheng flew over, wrapped Chun Jianfeng in a cloak, and carried him back to his camp. Deputy Guan, I didn't fail you. Chun Jianfeng's face was almost unrecognizable, but he still said something in a hoarse voice. Pavilion Leader Chun, you've worked hard. Congratulations, Pavilion Lord Chun. Guan Xiong's expression was solemn, but he didn't say anything else. Gong Yankong took out an elixir and gave it to Chun Jianfeng. He was the pavilion master of a northern Chill City's elixir pavilion. There was no need to talk about his medicinal pills. Old Chun, don't worry. You're still breathing. I'll ensure that you don't die. Thank you, Ram. Chun Jianfeng smiled bitterly and thanked him. Then, he couldn't hold on any longer and fainted. However, his life was not in danger. On the Undying Kingdom's side, there were naturally people who collected Zhong Yishan's corpse. Just now, the Undying Kingdom was still cheering for the battle, but now, no one was cheering anymore. Many cultivators of the Undying Kingdom had grave expressions on their faces. The entire Undying City seemed to be filled with the smell of blood. Zhong Yishan, Undead Realm Great Circle, ranked second in the Elders' Council. In the Undying Nation, he could be said to be the number 2 character, but he fell just like that. There was a high chance of death in such a battle. Everyone was mentally prepared, but when they really died, their own side was still unwilling to accept it. In the Undead Realm, if they did not die in battle, their lifespan could reach tens of thousands of years. But today, he had fallen just like that. How could they not sigh? The fox grieves for the rabbit's death. At this moment, Qin Yu spoke to Guan Xiong's side in a deep voice. The Undying Kingdom has lost the first battle. The second battle, please enlighten me. Dongfang Fu didn't wait for Qin Yu, Yi, or Fang Zheng to say anything. He immediately appeared on the battlefield. Undying Kingdom's Dongfang Fu, I invite the cultivators of Northern Chill City to fight. Dongfang Fu's black clothes and black hair fluttered in the wind. He had to win this battle, otherwise there wouldn't be a third battle. Out of 3 battles, Envoy Yi of the Corpseless Sect wanted the Undying Kingdom to win this battle. Just now, Zhong Yishan's death could be said to have completely aroused the fighting spirit of the Undying Kingdom. There was no way out. Dongfang Fu was not only fighting for himself. He also understood that even if he died, he had to win the second battle. Otherwise, Zhong Yishan's death would have been in vain. The Undying Kingdom was probably finished. The Corpseless Sect wouldn't care about the life and death of an Undying Kingdom that had no value. This world always cared about value, not reason. Dongfang Fu stood on the battlefield and released his aura. As soon as he appeared, he showed an attitude of wanting to kill. The Northern Chill City's battle should be Guan Xiong's. Originally, Guan Xiong was a bit excited when he saw Chun Jianfeng was seriously injured. Back then, He had promised Sumo that he would win this battle. In fact, when Sumo wasn't there, Guan Xiong had been practicing hard and concentrating on his research. He had even touched the threshold of the mid-stage, undying realm. Guan Xiong wasn't stupid. He was a genius, but he was lazy. However, it was only a month of training. It was indeed a bit difficult for Guan Xiong to reach the undead Great Circle. After all, not everyone had the same opportunity as Sumo. In fact, the Northern Chill City didn't support Guan Xiong's second battle, but it was Miao Long-er's decision. In the entire Northern Chill City, unless the City Lord appeared, Miao Long-er had absolute authority. If she said Guan Xiong would fight the second battle, then he would fight the second battle. Who would dare to question her? Besides, the relationship between Miao Long-er and Guan Xiong wasn't a secret. They were enemies. Who knew what the young lady was thinking? Guan Xiong, watch out. Gong Yanqing reminded him, the Northern Chill City will definitely go all out in the second battle. Fatty, it's not shameful to admit defeat. If you admit defeat at the crucial moment, we can protect you, Elder Fu said. In fact, everyone knew Guan Xiong's outcome. It wasn't because they knew Guan Xiong wouldn't go all out. Chun Jianfeng was a hot-blooded and upright person, but Guan Xiong would definitely play tricks. Hee, don't worry, everyone. Who do you think I am? Guan Xiong walked toward Dongfang Fu with a smile. Guan Xiong stopped a few meters away. Deputy Guan? Dongfang Fu was startled. He didn't expect that the other side, excluding Chun Jianfeng, still had 4 great experts. Why would they let the weakest Guan Xiong fight the second round? Early stage, undying realm. Dongfang Fu could see Guan Xiong's realm at a glance. How could he be a match for him? However, this also made his heart skip a beat. His chances of winning this round were increasing. Elder Dongfang, you didn't expect me to fight the second battle, did you? Guan Xiong smiled. I was surprised. Dongfang Fu said, I've killed many people from the Dongfang family. That's why I'm suitable for you, Elder Dongfang. Guan Xiong was putting Sumo's blame on himself. Dongfang Fu sneered. Deputy Guan, is this your true appearance? Dongfang Fu asked because the Dongfang family had 2 or 3 portraits of Guan Xiong, and each one was different. Dongfang Haiyue had brought back news that Guan Xiong had a secret art that allowed him to change his appearance at will. Of course it's my true appearance. Guan Xiong smiled. Very good. Dongfang Fu nodded and said, Deputy Guan, I don't care if you've changed your appearance or not, but I believe your heart won't change. I'll kill you today to avenge the Dongfang family and win for the Undying Dynasty. Chapter 348. For the Dongfang clan, for the Immortal Dynasty. Dongfang Fu's tone was quite heavy, as if he was facing death with equanimity. But that was just his own feelings. Guan Xiong didn't look pained at all. Instead, he wore a faint smile and looked very relaxed. Elder Dongfang, your idea is good, but the chances are slim. Please, Guan Xiong said as he started to move. In other words, he had started first before saying please. An early stage immortal state against a full stage immortal state. It could be said that it was like throwing an egg against a stone, seeking death. However, everyone knew that the Beihan city wouldn't let the stronger cultivators stand by and let the weaker ones die for nothing. Miao Longer naturally wouldn't let Guan Xiong die. She couldn't bear to see him die. She had been keeping him for a while to relieve her boredom. Therefore, Guan Xiong wasn't here to die. Miao Longer just wanted to force Guan Xiong to improve. She even hoped that Guan Xiong would be added to the Northern Chill City's list of contributions. Even if he lost, Guan Xiong would still make contributions. In fact, Guan Xiong understood this point. Therefore, Guan Xiong wouldn't let himself die in this battle, but he also wouldn't let Dongfang Fu win easily. But it was a bit difficult. Guan Xiong made the first move. He took out an extraordinary Dharma treasure as soon as he started. It was a white bead. It looked like a snowball the size of an egg. As soon as the bead appeared, it instantly emitted a cold aura. The cold aura was extremely yin and cold. In an instant, the temperature of the entire Tianyu Plaza plummeted. Even the barrier began to freeze. Crack, crack. the Tianyu Plaza turned into an ice barrier. The cultivators outside the barrier all felt the cold air invading their bodies. "I Soul B," Bai Yuesheng smiled. "This is a top-grade Dharma treasure of the immortal state. I heard that it was passed down by the city lord's former sect. Guanxiong's family is really rich. This is just the beginning." Gong Yangqing also smiled. "Guanxiong will definitely have a lot of good things on him for the second round. Otherwise, the eldest miss will never let him go. Unfortunately, his realm is too low. I'm afraid that he won't have a chance to take out his Dharma treasure if he doesn't act quickly," Gong Yangkong said calmly. He knew that even if one had a body full of magical treasures, if one's cultivation was too low, one would not be able to use them to their fullest potential. Guanxiong's first move was the Ice Soul Pearl. He was probably worried that he wouldn't have a chance. The Ice Soul Pearl turned the entire plaza into an ice cave. At the same time, Guanxiong formed a seal with his hands, forming several ice dragons that whistled towards Dongfang Fu. This kind of Dharma spell that relied on magic treasures was actually very powerful. At this moment, if Guanxiong was facing a cultivator of the same level, he would definitely have the upper hand. Unfortunately, his opponent was at the undead realm. The corner of Dongfang Fu's mouth curled up. He was naturally fearful of an undying realm top-notch treasure. However, he really didn't care about the attack in front of him. Dongfang Fu also formed hand seals. Rays of red light appeared on his palm. The power of undying was transformed into fire. At the great circle of the undead realm, one could transform the undead force at will. Since Guanxiong was using the ice technique, he would naturally counter it with fire. "Break!" Dongfang Fu lightly shouted, and then separated his hands. "Hu-woo!" Several fire dragons roared as they met Guanxiong's ice dragons head-on. Boom! Hu! Ice and fire collided, and red and white light scattered everywhere. The power of undying scattered like stars in the sky. Guanxiong's ice dragons were completely defeated. Dongfang Fu's remaining fire dragon went straight for Guanxiong. That was the difference. Dongfang Fu sneered and thought to himself, an early-stage undead challenging a great circle of the undead realm. The Northern Chill City really didn't care about the undead kingdom. Since that was the case, they would have to pay the price. One fire dragon was nothing. Dongfang Fu moved his mind and raised his right hand. A blood-red word could be vaguely seen on his palm. Seal. Seal. The fire dragon was in front, and the seal was behind. Dongfang Fu immediately used a top-notch Dharma spell of the undead realm. He didn't plan to give Guanxiong any chance. Although he didn't consider Guanxiong a worthy opponent, he didn't neglect his Dharma spell. Blood Seal Spell. Bai Yuesheng raised an eyebrow. This was a Dharma spell that was extremely disadvantageous to Guanxiong. Once this spell was used, Guanxiong wouldn't have the chance to admit defeat even if he wanted to. The Blood Seal spell would seal everything of the opponent, including their consciousness. It was a double seal on the body and the soul. However, the Blood Seal spell had a high requirement for the caster, and it consumed a lot of energy. Normally, high-level cultivators would only use this spell against low-level cultivators. Otherwise, they would easily be devoured. It was a good time for Dongfang Fu to use this spell on Guanxiong. Guanxiong, of course, knew the Blood Seal spell. However, he wasn't flustered. Guanxiong changed the hand seal in his hand as the fire dragon attacked him. By then, the surroundings had already turned into an ice cave. The ice dragon immediately attacked. Therefore, it wasn't a big threat to Guanxiong. Guanxiong's lips curled up when he saw the blood-red words flying toward him. Surprisingly, he did not dodge or evade the attack. Instead, he formed a rather strange seal. The cultivators of the Northern Chill City were startled. The elders of the Undead Kingdom were also puzzled. If Guanxiong didn't dodge the Blood Seal spell, wouldn't he be waiting to be sealed? Once he was sealed, Guanxiong would be at the mercy of others. Both the cultivators of the Northern Chill City and the Undead Kingdom knew that Dongfang Fu would definitely kill Guanxiong. At this moment, everyone seemed to have forgotten about the hand seal in Guanxiong's hand. because they had never heard of a hand seal that could break the blood seal spell, unless one's realm was higher than the caster's. If one's realm was higher, the caster would not use the blood seal art on them. So it was a paradox. Guan Xiong didn't dodge, which was puzzling. Among the cultivators of the northern Chill City, only old Fu blinked and said, "Little fatty, you're really rich." The other cultivators of the northern Chill City were startled. They didn't understand what old Fu meant. Meanwhile, there was a change in the situation. The blood seal spell covered Guan Xiong. A crimson light trapped Guan Xiong like a cage. However, Guan Xiong's expression didn't change. Dongfang Fu didn't understand it before, but he was happy that the spell succeeded. He didn't even hesitate. Whoosh! He waved his hand, and a long blade appeared in his hand. The long blade was more than 10 feet long. It had a black handle and a red blade. Once the blade appeared, there was a flash of red lightning on the Tianyu Square. The Blood Dragon Blade. Almost all the cultivators of the Undead Kingdom had heard of this blade. Once the Blood Dragon appeared, it wouldn't return until it tasted blood. It was the Dharma treasure that Dongfang Fu was famous for. It was also a top divine weapon of the undead state. Kill! Dongfang Fu held the blade with both hands and slashed at Guan Xiong in the simplest and most direct way. Even Chun Jianfeng wouldn't be able to block it, let alone Guan Xiong. Simple and violent methods were usually effective. Dongfang Fu wanted to kill Guan Xiong. Besides, cultivators who were hit by the blood seal spell couldn't move at all. They were just meat on the chopping block. Dongfang Fu didn't care. He just wanted to vent his anger. At that moment, all the cultivators of the northern Chill City, except for old Fu, were startled. The eyes of the cultivators of the undead kingdom lit up. However, they were all restraining themselves. After all, Zhong Yishan had given a lot of hope. However, Zhong Yishan died in the end. Dongfang Fu was going to split Guan Xiong in half. However, at this moment, Guan Xiong unexpectedly smiled and lightly shouted, "Explode!" That was like a bolt from the blue. It meant that Guan Xiong wasn't sealed at all. Chapter 349. The blood seal art used blood as a medium to seal everything of the opponent. His physical body and divine sense would be sealed. It could be said that once one was sealed, they would be a living dead. Their thoughts couldn't even leave their sea of consciousness, let alone casting arts. Just now, Dongfang Fu clearly saw that Guan Xiong was definitely hit by the blood seal art. His blood prison was extremely stable and showed no signs of breaking. But how could Guan Xiong laugh? And in such a strange way, he even shouted "explode." Unimaginable. Of course, Dongfang Fu didn't have time to think. Boom, crack, boom. Following Guan Xiong's shout, the entire Tianyu Plaza lit up with white light as energy soared to the sky. This scene left everyone tongue-tied and fearful, because what exploded was the ice cave formed by Guan Xiong's ice soul bead. The ice cave almost covered the entire plaza and was formed by the ice soul bead. Every single ice grain contained the power of immortality. Dongfang Fu wasn't the only one inside. Guan Xiong was as well. At this moment, the entire cave was compressing, collapsing, and exploding. This explosion was similar to Zhong Yishan's talisman explosion. However, it was not as powerful. The ice soul bead wasn't a god burying grade treasure after all, and didn't have a trace of god-bearing power. But undying top-level treasures were not cabbages. If this was the White Bone continent, there might not even be one ice soul bead on the entire continent. Even on the chaotic god continent, undying top-level treasures were top-tier existences. But Guan Xiong made it explode? The explosion of the ice cave was the explosion of the ice soul bead. This series of actions was equivalent to Guan Xiong directly destroying an undying top-level treasure. This price was far greater than Zhong Yishan's god-burying grade talisman explosion. Talismans weren't treasures after all. They were relatively easy to make. God-burying grade talismans were consumables that contained the power of the gods, while the ice soul bead was a treasure. Hiss! By Yue Sheng, Gong Yanqing, and Gong Yangkong grinned as they watched the ice soul bead explode. Even if it wasn't their treasure, they still felt the pinch. Burning the zither and cooking the crane, recklessly wasting God's gifts. Tower Master Bai, are you sure that the Ice Soul Pearl was passed down from the City Lord's sect in the past? Gong Yanqing raised his eyebrows and was slightly doubtful. At this moment, Bai Yuesheng also had some doubts. I only heard about it. But this Guan Xiong, this fellow, is too wasteful. Ram Kong shook his head. In Gong Yankong's opinion, Dongfang Fu's death was not worth a single Ice Soul Pearl. The legacy of the City Lord's sect exploded just like that? Huh. Elder Fu laughed at the side. That really is the City Lord's old Dharma treasure. However, there was more than one. Only Eldest Miss could afford it. Guan Xiong had been spoiled by the eldest Mississippi. The harder you hit, the deeper the pain. Hearing this, the other three shut their mouths, but they still had a smile on their faces. Apart from Elder Fu, who else among them dared to talk about the eldest miss? Needless to say, the Ice Soul Pearl must have been given to Guan Xiong by the first Mississippi. Elder Fu, I don't understand. How did Guan Xiong make the blood-sealing art ineffective? Gong Yanqing asked with a frown. The blood prison has been completed. In theory, Guan Xiong should have been sealed. Huh. Elder Fu laughed again. Silly girl, we are Undying Realm cultivators. Of course, we don't have a way to break the blood-sealing art. However, don't forget that our eldest miss has perfected the breaking realm. Although I can't see Guan Xiong's technique, he must have something that the eldest miss gave him that can counter the blood-sealing art. Bai Yuesheng sighed. I really hope that the eldest miss can hit me often. If I can destroy Undying Realm top Dharma treasures like this, and I have other Dharma treasures to protect myself, then when you hit me, you just have to hold back. Haha. The others laughed. Tower Master Bai, reincarnate. You have to reincarnate as a fat man first, Gong Yanqing said with a smile. Bai Yuesheng heard this and laughed. Let's go back. I'll finish my drunken immortal building first. The cultivators of Northern Chill City chatted casually, but Dongfang Fu was in a difficult situation. He had been tricked by Guan Xiong. When the Ice Soul Pearl exploded, the power of the Undying Realm was earth-shattering. It was like a storm, and the storm contained the coldest yin qi. The moment the ice exploded, Dongfang Fu was injured. It was too sudden. In fact, this kind of self-destructing Dharma treasure would hurt the enemy 1,000 times and oneself 800 times. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't use it unless it was the last resort. But Guan Xiong used it, and he was ready the moment he arrived. At the moment of the explosion, Guan Xiong was safe. He was sealed by the blood-sealing art. The blood-sealing art isolated all auras. Now, this isolation was Dongfang Fu's way of protecting Guan Xiong. Boom, boom, crack. The power of the explosion covered the sky and the earth. After coming to his senses, Dongfang Fu immediately put up a defensive shield and used a defensive Dharma treasure. Even so, he was in a difficult situation. The moment his spiritual shield appeared, it shattered in less than a breath's time. The power of the Ice Soul Pearl's self-destruction was too great. Countless ice explosions sounded around Dongfang Fu. He seemed to be sucked into a whirlpool of ice explosions. Dongfang Fu, with the support of his Dharma treasure, put up a shield 3 times. Only then did he manage to stabilize the situation, but he had used up a lot of energy. The elders and grand cultivators of the Undying Kingdom couldn't help but frown. Of course, Dongfang Fu didn't look like he was going to lose. However, they definitely did not want to see such a situation. Boom! The blood prison on Guan Xiong's body exploded. First, Dongfang Fu stopped his spell, and second, the Ice Soul Pearl's self-destruction. Under the two effects, the blood-sealing art was completely broken. While Dongfang Fu was in a difficult situation, Guan Xiong suddenly jumped forward. At this moment, Guan Xiong's body was emitting a faint purple light. It looked like he was wearing a suit of armor under his clothes. The Ice Soul Pearl's explosion couldn't affect him anymore. Guan Xiong grabbed the air with one hand. A spear was in his hand. It was a silver spear. Guan Xiong had never used it before. It was also a Dharma treasure of the Undying State, but there was a trace of purple light around the tip of the spear. Divine burial power. The cultivators of the northern Chill City shook their heads and smiled wryly. It wasn't strange for an undying state spear to appear in Guan Xiong's hand. Northern Chill City didn't lack weapons of this level, but the trace of divine burial power at the tip of the spear was very powerful. Plus, Guan Xiong was wearing armor that contained the power of divine burial. He was armed to the teeth. Guan Xiong might not win for sure, but he could definitely protect himself. Haha. It seemed that Miss Meow didn't want Guan Xiong to risk his life. This was true love. Divine burial power. Dongfang Fu felt it too. He couldn't help but feel cold. He didn't expect Guan Xiong to use a move that contained the power of divine burial in less than 3 rounds. It seemed that he wasn't ruthless enough. Winning a round should be done at all costs, but he was still too late. A red light flashed in Dongfang Fu's eyes. The Ice Soul Pearl's explosive power was almost used up. Dongfang Fu wanted to use his full power to deal a fatal blow to Guan Xiong. If Dongfang Fu didn't succeed, he could only admit defeat. Divine Burial Scythe. Dongfang Fu suddenly roared. Everyone's expressions changed. Dongfang Fu had a true god-burying grade offensive magic treasure on him. It was much more powerful than Zhong Yishan's talisman. Chapter 350. The Scythe of Burying God shone with a brilliant light. The blood dragon saber in Dongfang Fu's hand disappeared. Replacing it was a gigantic scythe. That sickle had the same aura as Dongfang Fu's blood dragon saber, but its blade was crescent-shaped. The god-burying scythe was one of the most precious treasures of the Eastern clan. The black blade emitted streams of black chi. That black aura seemed to come from hell. The blood-red tip of the saber was like a huge blood moon. The god-burying realm was a qualitative leap from the undying realm. The undead realm was the first stage of the red dust realm, while the god-burying realm was the second stage of the immortal realm. Of course, there was a qualitative difference between the first and second stages. It was the same for Dharma treasures. Although the god-burying divine armament couldn't display its full power with the power of undying, it was more than enough to deal with cultivators in the undead realm, even if they were at the grand circle of the undead realm. Dongfang Fu's scythe of buried gods whistled through the air toward Guan Xiong's spear. With the god-burying weapon in hand, Dongfang Fu was like a tiger that had grown wings. His black robe billowed like a demon. It should be said that at this moment, Dongfang Fu's battle prowess surpassed that of Zhong Yishan. The morale of the entire immortal city was boosted. Dongfang Fu unleashed the imposing aura of the undead realm's great circle, causing Guan Xiong's disadvantage to appear. After all, there was a gap of 2 minor levels between the two of them. Putting aside the fact that Guan Xiong's weapon was not a true god-bearing artifact, even he could not unleash the power that Dongfang Fu had. However, it could be said that this was a clash of god-burying levels. Boom! Crack! The spearhead against the sickle blade. Black light and crimson light burst forth. In the void, the air currents danced like snakes, fighting endlessly. However, that was only for an instant. Dongfang Fu's undying energy was endless, while Guan Xiong's was hard to sustain. The power of the divine burial realm spread out. Guan Xiong retreated several feet, but he still felt as if he was in a boundless sea, unable to see or hear or breathe. That kind of pressure was really too great. The web between Guan Xiong's thumb and forefinger had already ruptured, and his Dan Si was churning incessantly. The clothes in front of his chest had already been shattered by the undying power. However, Guan Xiong's silver armor was revealed. The armor glowed with the light of god-burying. A god-bearing armor. Dongfang Fu could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. After all, a god-bearing armor was even more valuable than a god-bearing weapon. Although it couldn't injure the enemy, it could save his life at critical moments. Most importantly, armor was extremely difficult to forge. It didn't need to be controlled. It wasn't restricted by a cultivator's level and could play a protective role. In the entire Eastern tribe, there was only one such set of armor. It was a pity that the ancestor had given it to the princess who was said to have the highest status after reincarnation. Even if he risked his life to fight for the undying nation this time, it was still impossible to lend it to him. Guan Xiong, Dongfang Fu roared in his heart. To have such a precious treasure, Guan Xiong must be an extremely important person in the Undying Kingdom. Killing such a person was enough to avenge the Dongfang clan. In fact, Dongfang Fu was originally wary of Guan Xiong's puppet. This was because Dongfang Haiyue had once said that Guan Xiong had a puppet at the undead realm that could rival the ghost generals of the Dongfang clan. However, Guan Xiong didn't seem to have any intention of summoning his puppets. Instead, he just kept using his magic treasures. Dongfang Fu couldn't care less. His Dan Si surged as he swung the divine burial scythe at Guan Xiong again. At the same time, Dongfang Fu's other hand formed a seal. Everything happened in an instant. From an outsider's point of view, there was almost no pause. After the first clash, Guan Xiong had already started to retreat. However, Dongfang Fu's second attack came. Guan Xiong raised his eyebrows. The difference in cultivation was becoming more and more obvious. Just now, Guan Xiong's advantage of exploding the ice soul bead was gone. Dongfang Fu had some wounds on his body, but they were healing. Everything that had happened earlier didn't seem to cause any substantial damage to Dongfang Fu. This wasn't Guan Xiong's goal. Damn it, Guan Xiong cursed in his heart. The first miss had given him many treasures. If Dongfang Fu was injured like this, Guan Xiong wouldn't be able to forgive himself. The gains didn't make up for the losses. However, Guan Xiong's methods were becoming less and less. In the end, his cultivation was still too low. Other than throwing treasures, he didn't seem to have any good offensive methods. As he thought, Dongfang Fu's side arrived. Guan Xiong didn't think too much. He didn't have a chance to dodge, even if he wanted to. He could only raise his hands and use the spear as a staff to block the blade. Boom! Crack! Dongfang Fu's scythe hit Guan Xiong's spear. In an instant, Guan Xiong's spear was already cracked. Wah! Guan Xiong felt as if his arms were about to break. A turbid chi rose from his chest, and he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His face instantly turned pale. Guan Xiong, the cultivators of the northern Chill City, were startled. Guan Xiong couldn't die here. No matter who died, Guan Xiong couldn't die. Gong Yangqing even opened her hand, and a falcon appeared in her palm. She could attack immediately if Guan Xiong surrendered. Calm down, Old Man Fu said. Guan Xiong could surrender, but he didn't. Dongfang Fu snickered and flipped his wrist. The scythe sank and hooked on a spear. Then Dongfang Fu pulled it toward him. At this point, Guan Xiong couldn't protect the divine weapon anymore. The divine spear couldn't resist the pull either. However, Guan Xiong's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Dongfang Fu, even if you don't die today, I'll skin you alive. Therefore, Guan Xiong didn't let go of the divine spear. Instead, he followed Dongfang Fu's power. Dongfang Fu was startled. This time, he didn't just use his power, but also Guan Xiong's own power. Therefore, he was extremely fast and caught Guan Xiong off guard. Dongfang Fu had only wanted Guan Xiong to throw away his weapon. Oh no, Dongfang Fu thought. He knew Guan Xiong didn't come with good intentions. Luckily, he had already formed a hand seal. His left hand suddenly pushed outwards. Devour, a black and white will instantly appeared in front of him. It was a black hole. There seemed to be thousands of demons inside the black hole, baring their white teeth. Soul-devouring beast, Gong Yangqing exclaimed. If she had known this would happen, she would have gone down herself. The other cultivators of the Northern Chill sect were also startled. They didn't expect Dongfang Fu to be a spirit cultivator and be able to tame beasts. Also, the soul-devouring beast was a special kind of spirit beast. Only spirit cultivators of the undead state could tame it. It was a spirit beast that existed between a tangible and intangible state and was extremely difficult to tame. However, it was extremely powerful and could devour souls. It was probably one of Dongfang Fu's trump cards. Guan Xiong had expected him to have a divine burial treasure and even know the blood-sealing art. However, Guan Xiong didn't expect Dongfang Fu to be able to tame the soul-devouring beast. Once the soul-devouring beast appeared, Guan Xiong would be walking into a trap. At that moment, Guanxiong felt like his divine soul was about to leave his body. Guanxiong didn't have the strength to turn around anymore. He sneered and made up his mind. Guanxiong still had a secret art, and he had already formed a hand seal. Soul explosion. Guanxiong roared, and a soul shadow flew out from his body. Chapter 351. Soul Separation. The cultivators of the Beihan city were nervous again. Old Man Fu frowned as well. It seemed like this little fatty had been holding back today to use such a ruthless move. Not only was he ruthless to his enemies, he was even more ruthless to himself. You devour souls, I detach my soul. However, Guanxiong's goal was to detonate his soul. For cultivators, especially those in the undead realm, the soul was far more important than the corporeal body. In fact, the undead Great Circle cultivator's final cultivation was the divine soul. In the early stage of the undying realm, one would forge the undying flesh and blood, while in the middle stage, one would temper the undying immortal bone, and in the late stage and perfection stage, one would condense the undying divine soul. As long as one's soul remained intact, one would be able to reach the second stage of cultivation, sempiternal realm. As for the so-called God-burying, it allowed the cultivator to break free from the shackles of the soul. Once they reached the God-burial realm, they would be able to separate their divine soul and divine sense. Therefore, for cultivators in the undead realm, the spiritual soul meant the capital for advancement. If one's divine soul was damaged, it would be impossible to ascend to the heavens. It was even possible that one would never be able to ascend in their lifetime. Although Chen Jianfeng's entire body was heavily injured and more than half of his physical body was destroyed, his divine soul was unharmed. Advancing to the God-burying realm was only delayed, but it was not impossible. Guanxiong didn't seem to care anymore. In a battle between cultivators, the most dangerous part was the battle of souls. The reason why Dongfang Fu's spirit beast was so terrifying was because it was a soul-devouring beast. Ordinary cultivators would avoid it. However, Guanxiong had done the exact opposite. Soul explosion. Guanxiong actually took the initiative to separate a soul shadow and prepared to detonate it. That was simply inconceivable, because the spiritual soul of an undead realm cultivator was not that strong. In theory, they didn't have the qualifications to separate their divine souls. However, Guanxiong actually did it by borrowing the soul-devouring beast's devouring ability. The cultivators of the Immortal City and the Northern Chill City had never thought this would happen. Of course, Dongfang Fu didn't expect this. Soul explosion. Following Guanxiong's shout, his original body instantly dimmed. A soul shadow flew out and headed straight for the soul-devouring beast's huge mouth. It was also in the direction of Dongfang Fu. However, this was different from passively devouring souls. The remaining divine soul in Guan Xiongrou's body was the main body, and he was still forming hand seals. However, the main body had suffered great losses. In an instant, bang, the wisp of Guan Xiong's divine soul suddenly exploded. It was the explosion of the power of his divine sense. At the same time, Guan Xiong's spear also exploded. On the godly spear, there was actually a talisman that Xiong had planted earlier. A spirit talisman that contained the power of the burial gods. It was similar to the talisman that Zhong Yishan used just now. Dongfang Fu was extremely shocked. An early-stage undead actually possessed so many god-burying grade techniques. The power of the Northern Chill City was far beyond their imagination. Moreover, the most important thing was that the Divine Soul Blast also attacked the Divine Soul. Dongfang Fu was not afraid of his body being heavily injured, but he was afraid of his soul being damaged. However, Guanxiong had abandoned the god-burying realm and even a late-stage, undying realm to drag Dongfang Fu down. This was a fight to the death. Insane. Old Fu raised his eyebrows. From Elder Fu's point of view, this was even more worthless than Chen Jianfeng damaging his own body. Bai Yuesheng, Gong Yanqing, and Gong Yankong shook their heads as well. They didn't understand why Guanxiong had to do this. No one would blame Guan Xiong for admitting defeat. Everyone thought that Guan Xiong was just a bystander. There was no need to risk his life. It was just to gain experience and broaden his horizons. But Guan Xiong didn't want to. Since he was participating, he had to show his value. Even if it was just soy sauce wine, he had to get a big bucket of it. So, he had to drag Dongfang Fu down with him. Soul Explosion. Spirit Talisman Explosion. This was the strongest attack Guan Xiong could use at the moment, and it was actually his last attack. Guan Xiong couldn't fight anymore after forcefully releasing a wisp of his divine soul. So, after he released his divine soul and formed a hand seal, he quickly retreated. At that moment, Guan Xiong didn't hesitate at all. Of course, Guan Xiong had to protect himself. Boom! Boom! Two explosions resounded across the Tianyu Plaza like two claps of thunder. The entire plaza shook slightly. The power was too strong. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom had ugly expressions. The cultivators of the Northern Chill City also had serious expressions. Crack, crack, crack. The enchantment that had already suffered from the impact just now was once again broken in many places. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom all retreated to protect themselves. There were many low-level cultivators among them. Once the Undying and God-burying power leaked out, it would be fatal. The people of a Northern Chill City were in a better state. Gong Yangkong heaved a sigh. He had already prepared a pill to heal the divine soul. Gong Yangqing's eagle had already jumped on her shoulder. As soon as Guan Xiong surrendered, they would immediately help. And at this moment, Dongfang Fu was in the most pain. The God-burying scythe released a huge amount of God-burying power. In an instant, only the immortal bones were left in Dongfang Fu's arms. All the flesh and blood instantly collapsed. Crack, crack. Even the immortal bones in his arms started to crack. The golden light dissipated and was immediately vaporized. Zhong Yishan and Chun Jianfeng's miserable state showed how powerful the God-burying talisman was. It was almost destructive. At this moment, if Dongfang Fu's God-burying scythe hadn't released the God-burying power, Dongfang Fu's soul would have been destroyed. But at the same time, Dongfang Fu had to endure the explosion of his divine soul. This was even more deadly. The God-bursting talisman could be seen, but the explosion of the divine soul was invisible. Dongfang Fu only felt a loud explosion in his mind. Then there seemed to be thousands of flying blades stabbing into his mind. After the soul explosion, no one could see the divine soul attack. The divine soul that Guan Xiong had shot out had already disappeared, but Dongfang Fu could still feel the attack. Suppress. A small person jumped out of Dongfang Fu's mind. This was his divine soul. At this moment, he wielded the God-burying scythe and charged left and right. Thousands of divine soul blades were destroyed in front of the divine soul. It looked brave, but it was extremely dangerous. Chi. Occasionally, there would be a fish that slipped through the net and directly pierced through the divine soul. Of course, all of this happened in Dongfang Fu's mind. No one else could see it. Dust billowed in the plaza and energy overflowed. At this moment, Dongfang Fu's body was almost destroyed, but his immortal heart and head were unharmed. In fact, he was much stronger than Chun Jianfeng. Dongfang Fu held the God-burying scythe and stood on the plaza like a skeleton. At this moment, the entire Tianyu Plaza was silent. Everyone knew that Guan Xiong's divine soul explosion was attacking Dongfang Fu's divine soul. In theory, Dongfang Fu was fine. This was because he was at the peak of the Undying Realm. Guan Xiong's divine soul could not compare to his. Guan Xiong's divine soul was destined to be destroyed. At this moment, Guan Xiong was kneeling on one knee in a corner of the plaza. His face was pale and his eyes were dim. His body looked much better than Dongfang Fu's, but his divine soul was injured. He had consumed more energy in this battle than Chun Jianfeng. Moreover, he could not beat Dongfang Fu. He no longer had any fighting strength. As expected, Dongfang Fu suddenly roared at the sky. Although his face was also pale, it was not as bad as Guan Xiong's. Ugh! Guan Xiong vomited another mouthful of blood. Everyone understood that Dongfang Fu's divine soul had won, but but it was also injured. Guan Xiong's injuries were even more serious. This time, they had both ruined their paths to ascension. Guan Xiong, I'm going to kill you. Dongfang Fu was furious. For a peak of the undying realm, not being able to ascend was equivalent to killing him. Most importantly, Dongfang Fu was sullen. Guan Xiong was only at the early stage of the undying realm. Moreover, Envoy Yi of the Corpseless sect had promised them to ascend to the God-burying realm. But his divine soul was already incomplete. How could he ascend even with immortal pills? This enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. Dongfang Fu's half-skeleton body made cracking sounds. He raised the God-burying scythe and charged at Guan Xiong. If he did not kill Guan Xiong, he would not be able to vent his anger. However, Guan Xiong raised his head and narrowed his eyes at Dongfang Fu. Then, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and sneered, "I admit defeat." Chapter 352. Admit defeat. The moment Guan Xiong's name left his mouth, it was like a huge mockery. Dongfang Fu was ready to kill Guan Xiong with one attack. However, at this moment, Guan Xiong calmly shouted, "Concede." According to the rules, Dongfang Fu had to stop or he would lose. However, if he withdrew his attack now, it would undoubtedly deal massive damage to Dongfang Fu. After all, his divine burial scythe had been unleashed. Guan Xiong's move had exceeded his expectations. He had even used a soul explosion. Wasn't he going to fight to the death? Dongfang Fu had even prepared for Guan Xiong's second soul explosion, who was afraid of a fight to the death. But Guan Xiong admitted defeat at the last moment. Whoosh! Dongfang Fu couldn't stop his scythe anymore. He could only try his best to stop and stand at the center of the square. He was dozens of feet away from Guan Xiong. This caused his Dan Si to become extremely unstable. Releasing and withdrawing, the pill Si rumbled loudly. But others couldn't hear it. That was equivalent to punching his own Dan Si. This time it was really unjust. Blood trickled down the corner of Dongfang Fu's mouth. But he couldn't stop the divine burial scythe's power. A violent gust of wind, mixed with the power of the divine burial scythe, headed straight for Guan Xiong. That was a power Guan Xiong couldn't block. If it hit, it would be fatal. The Undying Kingdom's people obviously wouldn't attack. They wanted Guan Xiong to die. Even if Guan Xiong was injured, there was nothing to say. Dongfang Fu had already stopped. Guan Xiong could only blame himself for admitting defeat too late. However, the cultivators of the northern Chill City were well prepared, and they took action. This possibility had long been within their expectations. Bai Yuesheng and Gong Yankong teleported in front of Guan Xiong at the same time. Bai Yuesheng spread his hands. In an instant, a silvery white shield propped up in front of him. It was a top-level weapon in the undead realm. It was bright and dazzling with silvery light. Boom, boom. Although the divine burial scythe was a divine burial treasure, Dongfang Fu had stopped. Therefore, Bai Yuesheng's shield could withstand a shockwave. Even so, Bai Yuesheng's body shook. Light scattered and spirit chi splashed. The power of the god-burying treasure was not to be underestimated. In this battle, if it weren't for Guan Xiong's treasures and armor, he definitely wouldn't have been able to survive Dongfang Fu's attack. Gong Yankong directly stuffed the prepared pills into Guan Xiong's mouth. "Fatty, you really went all out this time." Bai Yuesheng said, "Your divine soul is damaged. Even I don't have a good way to help you recover. This pill can only ensure that you won't suffer any more injuries." Alas, Gong Yankong shook his head. "If your soul is destroyed, you will become a walking corpse. Giving to the Corpseless sect is perfect." Both of them felt sorry for Guan Xiong and couldn't help but grumble. Hee. Guan Xiong's face turned pale, but a ruthless smile flashed across his face. "I'm an early-stage undead, exchanging it for a grand circle undead. It's worth it since I'm still alive." "Bastard, who told you to self-destruct your divine soul?" However, at this time, Guan Xiong suddenly heard a delicate shout. That voice belonged to none other than Miao Long. However, Miao Long never showed himself. "Why didn't you admit defeat earlier? You didn't have to fight with your divine soul. Leave everything to me. Miao Long's voice came again, but there was a trace of resentment in it. No one else could hear him, so Guan Xiong didn't dare to talk back. He could only smile awkwardly. However, he was still satisfied with this battle. Guan Xiong didn't care about advancing to mid-stage undead or late-stage undead. What he wanted was to fight with all his strength. In fact, he subconsciously wanted to prove to Northern Chill City that he, Guan Xiong, wasn't living off a woman. Ahem. To be precise, he wasn't living off a woman. Not everyone dared to self-destruct their divine soul. Bai Yuesheng and Gong Yongkong helped Guan Xiong back. Guan Xiong cupped his hands at Dongfang Fu. Elder Dongfang, thank you for letting me win. Thank you for letting me win. When Dongfang Fu heard this, it was almost like a slap in the face. Why did it sound like Guan Xiong had won? Dongfang Fu didn't care about Guan Xiong at all. Although he had won this battle, it was too sullen. Dongfang Fu always felt that there was a big stone on his chest, and his divine soul was greatly damaged. Congratulations, Elder Dongfang. At this moment, Fang Zheng and Dongfang family's Dongfang Haoyue appeared on the stage. With Fang Zheng gaining fame, Dongfang Haoyue supported Dongfang Fu and draped a cloak over him. Dongfang Fu's body was already unbearable. His injuries didn't matter much to Xiongchang. Dongfang Haoyue looked at Guan Xiong with a complicated expression. She supported Dongfang Fu and comforted him. Second brother, it's good that you won. The big picture is the most important, and we have completed the undead country's mission. As for Guan Xiong, we can take revenge in the future. Dongfang Fu calmed down. He obviously understood this. Before the second battle, he went out with the intention to fight to the death. Now that he won and didn't lose his life, it was already a good result. However, Guan Xiong was so angry that his mind was in chaos. Second brother, the divine soul injury can be healed. One must know that Envoy Yi is a person with eyes and eyes. One pill can let the undead late stage enter the perfect stage, so it can most likely heal your divine soul. Dongfang Haoyue supported Dongfang Fu back to the undead country. Dongfang Fu nodded again. I think there's a problem with that Guan Xiong. He is different from the Guan Xiong I met last time. He actually didn't use a puppet. They don't seem to be the same person. So, we need to think about Guan Xiong's matter. And Dongfang Fu was startled. Could it be that his opponent wasn't Guan Xiong? It was indeed surprising that he didn't use a puppet. One must know that a perfect stage, undead puppet was even more powerful than magic treasures. The brother and sister were talking through voice transmission. The others didn't mind. When Dongfang Fu returned to the undead country's camp, everyone greeted him. Of course, there were also people in charge of giving him pills to help him heal. Dongfang Fu's victory made the undead country sigh in relief. Because their mission was completed, the rest was corpseless sex matter. At this moment, Qin Yu turned to look at the purple-clothed cultivator and smiled. The undead country did not disappoint the mission. We will have to trouble you for the last battle. The purple-clothed cultivator didn't reveal his appearance. After hearing Qin Yu's words, he nodded and said, "Don't worry, Elder Qin. The undead country didn't disappoint the corpseless sect, and we won't let the undead country down either. It's my duty, of course." Qin Yu said politely. The purple-clothed cultivator didn't say anything else. He moved and landed at the center of the Tianyu Plaza. Northern Chill City, who was going to fight the third battle? The purple-clothed cultivator asked. Almost all the cultivators of the Northern Chill City sneered. The third battle was supposed to be Sumo, but Sumo didn't come back. Now only Bai Yuesheng, Gong Sun Kong, Old Fu, and Gong Yangqing didn't participate. Gong Yangqing's lips curled up, and she smiled. The eagle on her shoulder let out a long cry. Spirit cultivators were invincible among the same level. She was the most suitable candidate for this battle. So, without hesitation, Gong Yangqing appeared on the plaza. Gong Yangqing of the Northern Chill City. Who are you? Almost at the same time, a lotus seat flew to the sky of the undead city. On the lotus seat, Sumo was wearing an azure robe. She narrowed her eyes and was surrounded by murderous intent. Sumo had finally arrived. Chapter 353. The Undying City, Tianyu Plaza. The Undying Kingdom and the Northern Chill City had 1-1 match each, so it was a draw. The third match would be a showdown. Everyone was watching. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom were at ease, because it wasn't the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom, but the cultivators of the corpseless sect. The cultivator in purple was very mysterious, but the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom had absolute confidence in him, because this was originally a bet that was set at the request of the corpseless sect. Now, the Undying Kingdom had already won the first match. If the cultivators of the corpseless sect couldn't win the third match, they would bear all the consequences. However, when Gong Yangqing announced his name, the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom were slightly stunned. The Northern Chill City sent out a female cultivator? It wasn't that they looked down on female cultivators, but there were fewer female cultivators of the Undying Realm than male cultivators. In other words, it was harder for female cultivators of the same realm to cultivate. Qin Yu, Fang Zheng, and the other elders of the Undying Kingdom, as well as the kings of the four counties, were surprised. However, everyone also saw the eagles circling around Gong Yangqing. Spirit cultivator. Everyone understood now. This pretty and gentle-looking woman turned out to be a spirit cultivator who was said to be invincible among the same realm. Gong Yangqing. The cultivators of the Northern Chill City were almost strangers to the Undying Kingdom, because the Northern Chill City didn't belong to the chaotic gods continent or even the Pure Land. Spirit cultivator? The cultivator in purple said lightly, "Unfortunately, you are still not invincible among the same realm. I might not be invincible, but it's enough as long as I can defeat you." Gong Yangqing smiled. "Sir, please tell me your name. I wonder, which expert of the Undying Kingdom are you?" "I'm a nobody. I don't mind telling you my name." The cultivator in purple declined, "But I heard that there is a cultivator proficient in puppetry in the Undying City. I would like to fight with him." "Oh." Gong Yangqing smiled. "There are many cultivators proficient in puppetry in the Northern Chill City." "Sir, who are you talking about?" "Sumo." The cultivator in purple said. Sumo and the people of the Eastern Clan frowned, while Bai Yuesheng and the others smiled coldly. Sumo? Gong Yangqing's heart was also moved. He thought to himself, the Undying Kingdom is quite well informed. They all knew that Sumo was in the Beihan City. Young Master Su didn't come this time. Oh, there was a hint of disappointment in the purple-robed cultivator's voice. "I had wanted to fight him. What a pity. What a pity. What's a pity?" Gong Yangqing asked. "It's a pity that we can't have a puppet showdown," the purple-robed cultivator said. A duel between puppets." Gong Yangqing's brows slightly raised. "You are not someone from the Undying Kingdom." Why do you say that?" the purple-robed cultivator asked. "The Undying Kingdom does not have any cultivators in the Undying Realm who can use the puppet technique." Gong Yangqing sneered. "It seems that you belong to the power behind the Undying Kingdom. It doesn't matter whether I am or not." The purple-robed cultivator did not answer Gong Yangqing's question. "Today, I will fight for the Undying Kingdom. I only hope that the Beihan City can fulfill its promise after losing." Gong Yangqing said. "Whether you can fulfill your promise or not depends on whether you have the ability to do so. In all the realms, the strong are respected." With that, Gong Yangqing waved her hand. Instantly, the spirit chi around her fluctuated. When he looked again, a ray of profound light appeared on each side of her body. In each mystic light, there was a spirit beast, azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise. Roar, roar. The four spirit beasts roared at the same time, their voices shaking the sky. Gong Yangqing stood in the middle, her body slightly floating like a goddess. No, the death chi was about to burst out. All of a sudden, everyone was shocked. Dazzling skill. One had to admit that Gong Yangqing's skill looked the most domineering. It was far better than the few Undying Realm cultivators. The light of the four spirit beasts soared into the sky, extremely dazzling. 4 Undying Soul Beasts. Qin Yui frowned. All the cultivators above the undying realm couldn't see that Gong Yangqing's four spirit beasts weren't real bodies, but soul thoughts. In other words, they were actually inferior to real spirit beasts. However, it wasn't easy to gather the soul thoughts of the four spirit beasts. The soul thoughts of any of the four spirit beasts were comparable to a cultivator at the peak of the undying realm. If they were real bodies, they would be at the peak of the burying soul realm. Of course, if Gong Yangqing had a spirit beast at the peak of the burying soul realm, there would be no need to fight. Not bad. The cultivator in purple smiled. Unfortunately, you're no match for me. Those are just spirit beasts, and I have 3 people. Then, the cultivator in purple moved slightly. Whoosh! Instantly, everyone was shocked, because 3 violet-clothed cultivators had actually instantly appeared here. The 3 cultivators in purple slightly turn around. The 3 of them combined into one, like a circle. And at that moment, no one could tell which one was the cultivator in purple. What kind of skill is this? Not only were the cultivators of the undying kingdom dumbfounded, but the cultivators of the northern Chill City were also shocked. Bai Yuesheng, Gong Yangkong, and even the seriously injured Guan Xiong looked at Elder Fu. Unfortunately, Elder Fu also raised his eyebrows slightly. He had never seen such a skill before. It wasn't an ordinary cloning skill. Among the 3 cultivators in purple, no one could tell which one was the clone and which one was the main body. However, it was impossible for all 3 cultivators in purple to be the main body. Lady Gong Yangkong, can you tell that's my main body? The cultivator in purple asked lightly. However, no one seemed to be able to tell that these words came from the purple-robed cultivator. At that moment, Gong Yangqing was also shocked. She really couldn't tell. If they were to fight now, she would be facing 3 cultivators at the peak of the undying realm at the same time. It was a completely different concept from facing 3 spirit beasts or puppets with the same combat strength. Qing is no match for him. Elder Fu frowned and said to Gong Yangkong, "Try it. If she can't do it, tell her to admit defeat immediately. Otherwise, her life will be in danger." The origin of the cultivator in purple is definitely not ordinary. If he wants to fight the puppets, it's very likely that he's from the corpseless sect. Jian Feng is unconscious, and the fatty's injuries are even more serious. There's no need for Qing to fight to the death. That's not in line with Missy's strategy. Gong Yangkong also frowned when he heard that. Elder Fu's judgment shouldn't be wrong. Elder Fu's last sentence was very obvious, which was that there was no need for everyone to be like Guan Xiong, or else Missy would definitely be furious. Because it was meaningless. Admit defeat. The cultivator in purple said, "If you fight this battle, you have no chance of winning. I don't want to waste time, and I don't want to kill you." The cultivator in purple's words were very calm, without the slightest arrogance. All the cultivators present understood that the cultivator in purple's words were definitely not arrogant. An expert would know if there was an expert when he stretched out his hand. The 3 cultivators at the peak of the undying realm were enough to explain everything. It was an invincible skill in the first stage of cultivation, the red dust realm. "Qing, Gong Yangkong called out from behind. It was obvious that he wanted her to admit defeat and be done with it. However, how could Gong Yangqing give up so easily? If she fought to the death, she was confident that she could still give it a try. For a moment, Gong Yangqing was in a dilemma, and she hesitated. At this moment, a voice came from a void. "Thank you, Lady Gong Yangjun. However, Sumo has arrived. There's no need for you to fight for me in this battle." The voice came out. The cultivators on both sides were instantly shocked. Not counting the people from the northern Chill City, a few cultivators from the Dongfang clan on the Undying Kingdom's side changed their expressions. In the Dongfang clan, some people remembered Sumo's name, some people heard Sumo's voice, and some people even saw Sumo's appearance. Whoosh, a green shadow flashed. Sumo had already landed on the Tianyu Plaza. "Lady Gong Yangjun, I'll fight this battle. Puppet against puppet." The cultivator in green smiled coldly. Chapter 354. Sumo's sudden appearance caused the situation in the arena to change slightly. Little Su, Guan Xiong, was the first to call out. Unfortunately, his divine soul was injured and his voice was weak. However, Guan Xiong was really excited. Sumo is back. Guan Xiong's heart was finally at ease. Mid-stage, Undying Realm. Bai Yuesheng exclaimed. It had been less than a month since he last saw Sumo. At that time, Sumo was only a deity tribulation great circle cultivator, and she had just advanced to that level. However, in just 20 days, Sumo not only broke through the Undying Realm, but also reached the mid-stage Undying Realm. This speed was incredible. Little Su actually surpassed me. Guan Xiong was almost unwilling to accept this fact. Where did this guy get such a great opportunity? The other cultivators of the Northern Chill City had never seen Sumo before. However, they also knew that Sumo was not an undying cultivator, but they were still shocked when they saw her. Sumo, damn it! A red-clothed female cultivator from the Undying Kingdom's camp gritted her teeth. It was none other than the Dongfang clan's 9th princess, Dongfang Hongran. That day in Nanyue Prefecture, Sumo plucked off all the feathers of her 5 elements divine sparrow. However, the cultivators she sent to kill Sumo couldn't find Sumo, and they were all killed while chasing Guan Xiong. She said damn it because she didn't expect that Sumo would become an undying cultivator in such a short period of time. Moreover, Sumo had a background in the Northern Chill City. He should be Guan Xiong or Sumo. Dongfang Haoyue said. Then, she couldn't help but look at Dongfang Lin and Dongfang Sr., that's right. This is the cultivator who fought with us that day, the 2 brothers said with certainty. I see. Dongfang Yuan, the king of the Dongying Prefecture, sneered. It seems that Guan Xiong was fake, and the Sumo we've been looking for is actually the same person as Guan Xiong. Damn it! Dongfang Fu's face was pale, but he was filled with hatred. At that moment, the purple-robed cultivators instantly merged into one. Sumo, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The purple-robed cultivator actually cupped his hands towards Sumo. Apparently, Sumo was more important to him than ordinary cultivators in the Beihan city. However, Sumo did not respond immediately. Instead, she cupped her hands and bowed to Gong Yangxing. Many thanks to Miss Gong Yangxing for stepping up for me just now. In that case, I made it. I'll handle this one. You can go back and rest for now. Be careful. Gong Yangxing didn't waste any time and immediately retreated to the Northern Chill City's side. She was definitely not a match for the purple-robed cultivator. It could be said that Sumo came at the right time. Don't look at how Sumo was only at the middle stage of Undead Realm. However, everyone in the Northern Chill City knew that Sumo could challenge the existence of the Undead Realm during the Spirit Tribulation. Then, Sumo turned to look at the purple-robed cultivator and cupped her hands in return. I've kept you waiting. Hee hee. It doesn't matter. I've been waiting for you, Sumo. The purple-robed cultivator said. Do you know me? Sumo asked. I do. The purple-robed cultivator said. But I've only seen your true appearance today. Unfortunately, I haven't seen your true appearance yet. Sumo raised her brows slightly. He didn't ask why the purple-robed cultivator knew him, but he was too familiar with the purple robe in front of him. The purple robe was exactly the same as the purple robes of his 3 purple-robed puppets. All of this was definitely not a coincidence. You'll see when the battle is over. The purple-robed cultivator smiled faintly. Today's battle is mostly because of you. Hee hee. Shouldn't this Su be honored? Sumo sneered. You should be. Then, I'll experience your means. Sumo didn't say anything more. Her body moved slightly, and her right fist was already raised. Whoosh! It was a simple and direct punch. In an instant, golden light filled the sky, and a dragon roared. Sumo was already at the middle stage of the Undead Realm. The sacred ancestor Golden Dragon Fist's strength had risen. The power of this first punch was enough to cause damage to the golden body of the Undead Realm. Of course, Sumo's punch was just a probe. The purple-robed cultivator's figure moved and flashed to the left. Sumo's first punch was not fast, so it wasn't too difficult for the purple-robed cultivator to dodge it. As soon as this punch was thrown, many cultivators of the undead kingdom showed disdainful expressions, because the punch just now was too ordinary. However, any random middle stage undead realm cultivator could throw a similar punch. Sumo was only at the middle stage of the undead realm. How could she be more powerful than that female spirit cultivator? Those cultivators who were not familiar with sumo and had never heard of sumo, when they saw sumo's first move, more or less looked down on sumo. It was no wonder that in the previous two battles, every move seemed to be better than this punch. Whoosh, boom. The purple-robed cultivator seemed to want to see sumo's ability, so he didn't attack. But sumo's second punch had already been thrown. The power of this second punch doubled in an instant. The entire Tianyu public square was swept up by a hurricane, and golden light soared to the sky. There seemed to be a golden river in the void. The undead force surged like a tide. The undead kingdom's cultivators, who looked down on sumo just now, couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. What kind of fist technique was this? The power it unleashed had actually doubled. Sumo had some skill. Sumo's second punch was quite powerful. Even a Great Circle Undead Realm cultivator didn't dare to block it with his body. However, the purple-robed cultivator still didn't attack. His figure quickly retreated, still dodging and defending. Sumo's brows slightly wrinkled. This purple-robed cultivator actually dared to be so arrogant? Do you really think that you can dodge every single one of my punches? Kill! Sumo roared. He threw his third punch. This was also Sumo's last punch. He only threw 3 punches of the Golden Dragon Fist, which was also a kind of improvement. Roar, boom. The golden light was like a sea and the roar of 10,000 dragons. Sumo drew out 3/4 of the power in his Dan-Si and poured it all into this last punch. That punch was the Thunder God's hammer, which could completely shatter the void. Whether it was the speed or the power, it was incomparable to the previous 2 punches. The cultivators outside the barrier seemed to feel the biting, cold, murderous wind. After this third fight, the barrier of the Tianyu public square would most likely not be able to hold. That punch unexpectedly showed the characteristics of an indiscriminate attack. The power of Sumo's punch covered the entire public square. But this time, the purple-robed cultivator didn't choose to dodge. In fact, he couldn't dodge. Puppet. Wood dragon. The purple-robed cultivator instantly formed a seal and shouted. Boom! Crack! Looking again, in front of the purple-robed cultivator, a tall monster suddenly appeared. The monster had 4 legs, a human body, and a dragon's head. It was 10 meters tall. The moment the wood dragon appeared, it opened a shield in front of the purple-robed cultivator. Boom! Boom! Sumo's punch landed on the upper body of the wood dragon. Huh! At that moment, Sumo's expression changed slightly. Now, Sumo's punch could even leave a clear fist mark on the artificial mountain in the 3rd training field of the northern Chill City, and it even went a little deeper. However, when the punch landed on the wood dragon, Sumo only felt his arm go numb. At the same time, a strong force directly rebounded. Oh no! Sumo's heart jumped, and then he suddenly retreated. But the force followed her like a shadow, chasing after Sumo. The power of Sumo's punch was completely rebounded by the puppet. What a powerful puppet, Sumo thought. At the same time, he thought, Ghost Shadow. Whoosh! The ghost shadow puppet that Yi Wu Hui gave him appeared in a flash. The people of the Undying Kingdom were all shocked, because it was also a purple-robed cultivator. 8. Chapter 355. As soon as the ghostly shadow appeared, it instantly formed a seal. The purple robe shone brightly, and one of the purple lights directly met the wooden dragon's rebounding fist force. Boom! Boom! 2 powerful forces collided, creating a loud, rumbling sound, and spiritual energy soared to the sky. However, neither the wooden dragon nor the ghostly shadow attacked again, but retreated. Then they stood on either side of their master. 2 puppets at the undead realm. Such puppets were definitely rare in the undead kingdom. Wow! The audience was in an uproar. The elders and dukes of the Undying Kingdom were frowning even more. They were all undead realm cultivators, so they could see that the puppet Sumo summoned was almost the same as the purple-robed cultivator. What kind of situation was this? At this time, the purple-robed cultivator and Sumo were also looking at each other. Sumo, your puppet is not bad. The purple-robed cultivator's robe slightly fluttered. Your Excellency is also not bad. Sumo raised the corner of her mouth. There was nothing wrong with the purple-robed cultivator's words, but Sumo's answer was worth pondering. The spectating cultivators, who heard the hidden meaning, could not help but slightly frown. Hee. The purple-robed cultivator laughed. However, if you want to defeat me with a puppet of undead realm, that is simply impossible. I know. Sumo sneered. Your Excellency thinks too much. This puppet is just a prelude. Before killing you, I want to see your Excellency's true appearance. With that, Sumo already moved. Sumo's figure was extremely fast. This time, he naturally did not punch, but raised one of his hands. The broken bamboo pole had already appeared in his hand. A blue light shone, and its brilliance soared to the sky. In fact, until now, Sumo still did not know what level of magical weapon this broken bamboo pole belonged to. However, after each advancement, he could use the broken bamboo pole more easily. It was as if the broken bamboo pole's level would increase along with Sumo's advancement. Chi. The broken bamboo pole's blue light pierced through the sky, without the slightest sign of being broken, like a slender blue dragon in the void. Its target was the purple-robed cultivator's face. It seemed that Sumo really wanted to see the true appearance of the purple-robed cultivator. Naturally, the purple-clad cultivator would not just sit back and wait for death. His figure moved and instantly turned into a shadow. At the same time, he raised his hand. A long sword appeared in his hand. It was a silver long sword that glowed like water. Clang! He swung his sword upwards and deflected Sumo's bamboo pole. However, the two of them did not stop their attacks. Sumo raised her bamboo pole slightly, and it actually turned into a long rod, sweeping horizontally. His target was still the purple-robed cultivator's face. The wind whistled like a dragon's roar. However, the purple-clothed cultivator's hood did not budge. At the same time, he raised the sword in his hand. Clang! There was another soft sound. However, the broken bamboo pole did not break the purple-robed cultivator's sword. However, the long sword bent slightly, forming the shape of a bow. Retreat! The purple-robed cultivator shouted, and the sword suddenly returned to its original state. That move actually bounced off Sumo's broken bamboo pole. And at the same time, the purple-robed cultivator's wooden dragon puppet moved. Its 4 feet stepped forward, and it sounded like a horse's neigh. At the same time, it suddenly waved one of its hands, and it actually turned into a dozen zhong, heading straight for the ghostly shadow's face. This time, it also wanted to take off the ghostly shadow's hood. This was a very interesting scene. Both sides seemed to want to take off the other's hood. Unfortunately, the ghostly shadow's movement technique was like a ghost. With a light slide, he retreated dozens of zhong. At the same time, her purple robe fluttered, and her hands quickly formed a seal. Quick! The ghostly shadow shouted in a hoarse voice. This was one of the few syllables she could make. 2 flying knives suddenly flew out from her long sleeve. The flying knives were like wheels, spinning endlessly. Everyone thought that the 2 flying knives would cut the wooden dragon's long arm. However, they did not expect that the 2 flying knives would directly bypass the wooden dragon's arm, and instead, they each turned into a semicircle and slashed at the wooden dragon's back. The wooden dragon could not speak, but the purple-robed cultivator was slightly surprised. This time, the ghostly shadow clearly knew the wooden dragon's weak spot. The purple-robed cultivator turned out to be a puppet with intelligence. The purple-robed cultivator secretly frowned. It seemed that the situation was more complicated than he thought. However, there was no time to think about everything in the battle. His wooden dragon puppet was also not ordinary. The ghostly shadow's flying knives went straight for its weak spot, but the wooden dragon's 4 feet did not move. Seeing that the 2 flying knives had already turned behind it, the wooden dragon's upper body suddenly turned around. Just like that, the back of the wooden dragon's body became the front. Clang, clang, the ghostly shadows' flying knives hit the wooden dragon's front. However, it was unknown what material the wooden dragon was made of. The ghostly shadows' two flying knives were also not ordinary items. However, they did not leave a trace on the wooden dragon's body and were directly sent flying. However, the change happened in an instant. Because in the instant the ghostly shadow threw the flying knives, its body was already moving forward. In that instant, it was as if the ghostly shadow had predicted the wooden dragon's way of dealing with its flying knives. Moreover, the ghostly shadow already had an iron, awl-like weapon in its hand. It should be said that all of the ghostly shadow's moves had taken the initiative, and in a battle of the undead realm, one advantage could determine life and death. Everything happened in an instant. Clang, clang, puff. The purple-robed cultivator saw the ghostly shadow's strength and wanted to rescue it, but was forced back by the blood-red flying knife thrown by Sumo. That flying knife was the magical weapon of the Dongfang clan. The Dongfang clan people looked at it, and their hatred became even stronger. Puff! The ghostly shadow's iron all hit the wooden dragon's back. That was indeed the wooden dragon's weak spot. In theory, it was the wooden dragon's secret. Ordinary people would never know about it. However, the ghostly shadow knew and even understood the wooden dragon's fighting style. One fatal move. A black gas emitted from the wooden dragon's back, and several runes dispersed. Crash! The wooden dragon's head and upper limbs directly drooped down. The entire puppet also instantly withered to the ground. To tell the truth, this was beyond everyone's expectations. They were puppets of the same level, but Sumo's puppet had almost effortlessly destroyed the purple-robed cultivator's puppet. Even Sumo did not expect this situation. Seeing this, the purple-robed cultivator quickly retreated. He did not feel distressed about losing that wooden dragon puppet. Originally, that was just a puppet he used to test the waters. To be honest, Sumo did not display any strength that shocked him. However, the ability that the puppet displayed shocked him. It was not because it had defeated the wooden dragon, but because it understood the wooden dragon too well. Who is this puppet? The purple-robed cultivator asked in his heart. The purple-robed cultivator retreated, but Sumo did not stop. Sumo and the ghostly shadow simultaneously rushed towards the purple-robed cultivator. In an instant, victory and defeat could be decided. They would not give the purple-robed cultivator a chance. The bamboo pole in Sumo's hand was aimed straight at the purple-robed cultivator's chest. As for the ghostly shadow's iron awl, it pierced straight into the purple-robed cultivator's head. At the same time, 4 flying knives flew out from the void towards the purple-robed cultivator. Sumo and the ghostly shadow each had 2 of them. 2 red and 2 white. It was a dazzling sight. This wave of attacks almost sealed all of the purple-robed cultivator's escape routes. The people of the Undying Kingdom felt their hearts tighten. This Sumo and the puppet were actually this powerful? Against a perfect Undying Realm cultivator that actually had the upper hand. However, what no one expected was that the purple-robed cultivator did not escape from the attack. Chi! Puff! Hua! The crowd exclaimed. Sumo and the ghostly shadow's treasures almost simultaneously pierced through the purple-robed cultivator. Chapter 356. Wow, everyone was shocked. No one had thought that Sumo would succeed in one attack. Sumo's attack was ordinary and the ghost shadows was just a regular attack. Even though they had blocked all the escape routes of the cultivators in purple, it shouldn't have ended up like this. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom were startled, and the cultivators of the Northern Chill City were also stunned. At this moment, only Sumo was shocked, because the moment he pierced through the cultivator's body, he felt something was wrong. The cultivator's body seemed to be made of wax and paper. They had been tricked. Sumo and the ghost shadow realized the problem at the same time. But the change only lasted for a second. Poof! The cultivator in purple suddenly turned into a puff of purple smoke and disappeared. In the air, 3 cultivators in purple suddenly appeared and attacked Sumo and the ghost shadow from 3 different directions. One of the cultivators wielded the silver long sword from before and thrust it straight at Sumo's forehead. Another cultivator in purple robes stretched out a claw that glowed with a green light and grabbed at the ghostly shadow's head. The last cultivator actually cast a spell technique. It was a kind of indiscriminate attack. Tens of thousands of golden lights directly enveloped Su Mo and Gue Ing. In an instant, they turned into ropes that bound their bodies. The 3 cultivators in purple used 3 different attacks. It happened so fast that the cultivators watching the battle didn't even have time to react. The cultivator in purple turned into 3 cultivators again, and it was obvious that he had set up a trap for Sumo. Whoosh, whoosh. The spirit chi pierced through the air. Sumo and the ghost shadow had almost no time to react. The attack of 3 cultivators at the Undying Kingdom was equivalent to announcing Sumo's death. The cultivators of the northern Chill City looked serious. There was a flash of panic in Guan Xiong's eyes. However, at this moment, Sumo's body suddenly lit up with a shocking purple light. Whoosh! A figure in purple flew out from Sumo's body. The figure in purple shot out a ray of sword aura. That sword light was simply incomparable to all the sword lights of the previous cultivators. Even though Chun Jianfeng's avatar, without the sword, seemed to be slightly inferior. The sword light contained the will of invincibility and the aura of a king. Once the sword was unleashed, it gave off the feeling that no one could compete with it, because that was the sword of king worship, the sword of god burying. The attacks of 3 undead realm experts were certainly not to be underestimated. However, the Mu Wang puppet's sword contained the might of a god burying, as well as the ancient sword intent, directly scattering everything. At that moment, it was like a whirlwind sweeping away the clouds. Kacha! The purple-robed cultivator's silver sword was actually broken into 2 pieces by the Reverend King's sword. The golden light that had already turned into ropes instantly dissipated. Under King Mu's sword, everything crumbled like snow melting away. Only the second purple-robed cultivator's hand suddenly grabbed Ghost Shadow's hood. Hiss! The hood fell. Ka! However, in that instant, Mu Wang's sword light had already severed the purple-robed cultivator's wrist. However, he did not bleed at all. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Sumo actually summoned another purple-robed cultivator. Was it also a puppet? The Undead Kingdom's cultivators looked at each other. Why were all the puppets wearing purple robes? Was this the uniform of the puppets? However, no one had ever heard of it. If the 3 purple-robed cultivators from the Undead Kingdom were counted, then there were a total of 5 figures wearing the same clothes on the Tianyu Plaza. Other than them, only Sumo was holding a bamboo pole, dressed in green. Whoosh! Both sides suddenly separated. The 3 purple-robed cultivators stood in a triangular formation. The purple-robed cultivator with a broken arm was actually at the forefront. As for Sumo, Ghost Shadow, and King Mu, 1 person and 2 puppets, they stood in a straight line. Sumo stood in the middle, Ghost Shadow on the left, and King Mu on the right. Just now, the murderous intent fluctuated, but in the end, it could only be considered a draw. No one gained the upper hand. The purple-robed cultivator and Sumo consciously distanced themselves from each other. The 2 of them seemed to have formed a tacit understanding, because they both had something to say. However, without waiting for them to speak, the expressions of the Undying Kingdom's elders suddenly changed. Emissary Yi, that is, Qin Yu Yi, Fang Zheng, Dongfang Fu, Elder Yang, and the rest all exclaimed. Because the purple-robed female cultivator standing beside Sumo was clearly the corpseless sex Emissary Yi that they had seen before. However, that Emissary Yi was dressed in blue, while the female cultivator before them was dressed in purple. Why is Emissary Yi standing beside Sumo? Don't be impatient. The purple-robed cultivator spoke. His voice was rather deep. Even Sumo could not tell which purple-robed cultivator's voice came from. That is only a puppet. The purple-robed cultivator's words were meant for the Undying Kingdom's cultivators to hear. Actually, just now, when the hood dropped, the Undying Kingdom's cultivators were a bit too shocked. At this moment, when they looked again, the purple-robed female cultivator was indeed a bit different from Emissary Yi. The two of them were 90% similar, but there was a part of them that was completely different. Gui Ying's aura was only at the undead realm Great Circle, while Emissary Yi of the corpseless sect, no one in the entire Undying Kingdom was able to see through her cultivation. The purple-robed cultivator's words instantly silenced the Undying Kingdom's cultivators. However, they still had doubts in their hearts. Could it be that Sumo's puppet was made according to Emissary Yi of the corpseless sect? Otherwise, how could it be almost exactly the same? At this moment, the purple-robed cultivator's shock was actually no less than the people of the Undying Kingdom. He never expected that the face under the hood was actually that face. Otherwise, he would not have stopped his attack. Sumo, I didn't expect you to have such a great opportunity. The purple-robed cultivator's voice was still very deep. May I ask, where did you get these two puppets from? Hee. Sumo sneered. Sir, you hide your head but show your tail, not daring to show your true face. What qualifications do you have to ask me this and that? However, I do have a question for you. Speak. The purple-robed cultivator did not argue with her. Instead, he answered straightforwardly. May I ask, whose puppet do you belong to? Sumo's voice was low and a light flashed in her eyes. Her eyes fell on the purple-robed cultivator's broken wrist. There was still not a single drop of blood on the wound. This was Sumo's final confirmation. The purple-robed cultivator was not a living cultivator, but a real puppet. What? All the cultivators present, be they from the Undying Kingdom or the Northern Chill City, were startled. Isn't that purple-robed cultivator a real cultivator? A puppet? Is there such a high-level puppet on the Chaotic Gods continent? The cultivators of the Northern Chill City had never heard of it. Only Elder Fu frowned. He had heard stories about puppets that were like humans. However, he had never seen a puppet that was like a living person. As powerful as Sumo's god-bearing puppet was, wasn't it also a puppet? Hee. The purple-robed cultivator was not nervous at all when he heard Sumo's question. Instead, he sneered, Sumo, it seems that you have learned a lot in Siyun Villa. Then, the thing that I want must be with you. Chapter 357. Siyun Manor? The thing you want? Hearing the purple-robed cultivator's words, Sumo's heart skipped a beat, and then he narrowed his eyes. The others present did not understand the purple-robed cultivator's words, but Sumo could. Siyun Manor, that was an existence that Sumo absolutely did not want to touch again. Even the current Sumo might not be able to come back alive from Siyun Manor. Back then, he had narrowly escaped with his life. Siyun Manor was filled with puppets. Moreover, almost all of them were at the second stage of the immortal realm. That was an existence that was too terrifying. And the purple-robed cultivator's words had a hidden meaning. Could it be that he wanted the 3-inch puppet that she had? It seems that your request is not small. Sumo sneered. If this purple-robed cultivator came from Siyun Manor, then Sumo felt that she really had to be careful. Sumo, just admit defeat. Then, give me the thing that I want. From now on, everything has nothing to do with you. The purple-robed cultivator's tone was serious. Hee. You want that small boat from Ink Lake? Sumo asked with a smile. That small boat from Ink Lake is the wager for this competition. Sumo, you should remember what you took from Siyun Manor. That is what I want. The purple-robed cultivator's tone was slightly heavy. Sumo, there are many things that you cannot imagine. Those are all existences that you cannot touch. The purple-robed cultivator's words could be said to be sincere. Sumo sneered. As expected, the other party really came for the 3-inch puppet. However, Sumo did not understand. If it was only for the 3-inch puppet, why would he set up a competition in the Undying Kingdom? Sir, you are really a qualified puppet. However, I have the final say on who I give that thing to. If the person who wants it comes, I will naturally give it to him. Oh, hee. The purple-robed cultivator shook his head helplessly. Sumo, my priceless advice, but you did not listen to it. I am afraid that the person you are waiting for will not have the chance to come. And you will definitely regret your choice. I have never regretted it, Sumo said lightly. The two of them were more than enough. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom and Northern Chill City were confused, but everyone could sense that the battle between the two was about to begin. On the Tianyu Square, the atmosphere changed. The bodies of the three purple-robed cultivators radiated a faint purple glow. Amidst the purple light, there was a faint golden light. They had raised their auras of the undead realm to the extreme. Whether they were cultivators or puppets, this kind of power was enough to shock everyone present. Because everyone understood that the purple-clothed cultivator definitely hadn't unleashed his ultimate technique. The real battle had begun. Sumo's gaze sharpened. Since this purple-robed cultivator's target was the 3-inch puppet in his possession, then the problem was not on the level of the Undying Kingdom. Yi Wuhui was an immortal. As for those who were her enemies, it was needless to say. In fact, Sumo always had a question in her heart. Why didn't Yi Wuhui come to find me? Now, listening to the purple-clothed cultivator's words, could it be that something happened to her? Sumo pondered, but no matter what, her current task was to defeat the purple-clothed cultivator in front of her. That way, she might be able to get more information. Crack. At this time, the broken arm of the leading purple-clothed cultivator instantly grew back. However, it was no longer the shape of a normal person's hand, but a shiny black arm of a skeleton. At the same time, the leading purple-clothed cultivator moved. Demonic domain, heavenly prison. The purple-clothed cultivator formed a seal with both hands. In a flash, his purple robe suddenly fluttered. Purple light filled the sky. Chi-chi. That purple light suddenly burst out thousands of black gas, like a devil lingering around. In an instant, the black fog spread out, as if to devour everything, heading straight for Sumo, Gue Ying, and Muon. That was a kind of indiscriminate attack. When the black fog came, Sumo didn't have time to react. In an instant, he felt his vision turn black. Fortunately, Gue Ying and Mu Wang were still by his side. However, Sumo felt that he was trapped inside the black fog. Spreading out his divine sense, Sumo actually couldn't sense anything in the Tianyu Plaza. And the three purple-clothed cultivators were also gone. Illusion array technique? Sumo raised his eyebrows. However, this was the first time he encountered such a technique. Looking again, the black fog started to make a chi-chi sound. The black fog actually started to squirm. Black snakes, one after another, surged out from the black fog, each of them flicking their long tongues. Densely packed, it was enough to make one's scalp go numb. Mu Wang, Sumo lightly shouted. Looking again, the sword in Mu Wang's puppet's hand lightly turned, the brilliance scattered like water ripples. Who? In an instant, all the black snakes turned into black fog. However, when the black snakes dispersed, the black fog instantly turned into thousands of black poisonous insects. Wriggling, crawling, they rushed from the ground towards Sumo's group, like an army of thousands of horses. This time, without waiting for Sumo to speak, Gue Ying had already formed a seal. Who? Purple flames actually spread from under Gue Ying's feet and did not harm Sumo or Mu Wang at all. However, the purple flames engulfed the entire army of black insects. The black insects disappeared, but they still turned into black fog. The surrounding black fog became thicker and heavier. Outside of Sumo's range, it was like a black hole, unable to sense anything. Sumo's mind moved, and Mu Wang's puppet attacked again. Whoosh! Mu Wang's sword radiated tens of zhong, a giant dragon, charging forward. In theory, that was where the purple-clothed cultivator who cut his wrist was at. The god-burying grade sword radiance broke through all restraints, directly splitting the black fog, instantly moving 100 zhong away. However, 100 zhong away, there was still black fog. There seemed to be no end to it. Sumo raised an eyebrow. The god-burying power was actually ineffective. They were trapped by the black fog. This Taoist technique actually formed something similar to a spatial barrier. Although the illusionary snakes and insects could not harm her for the time being, they seemed to be indestructible. Sure enough, just as Sumo was thinking, snakes and insects surged out of the black fog again. Moreover, there were more of them than before. However, under Mu Wang's and Gue Ying's techniques, they instantly dissipated into black fog. However, this was not a solution. After a while, they would come back, almost like a cycle. This situation was extremely disadvantageous to Sumo. The enemy could not kill them all, and the more they killed, the more there would be. If they could not break the technique, then in theory, they should be able to exhaust Sumo to death. At that moment, Sumo had a feeling that the black fog seemed to be absorbing his spiritual energy bit by bit. At the beginning, it was not obvious. However, after Gue Ying and Mu Wang destroyed 4 to 5 waves of snakes and insects, Sumo felt that the surging black fog was abnormal. They were devouring Sumo's spiritual energy bit by bit. However, Sumo cultivated the unwithered bone spell, so he had an endless supply of spiritual energy, so it was not obvious at first. What a strange Dharma spell, Sumo thought. However, such a Dharma spell would not be able to do anything to Sumo for a while. At the moment, on the Tianyu Square, there were only 3 cultivators in purple clothes standing in 3 different directions. They were making hand seals, and each of them was doing a different one. Sumo, Gue Ying, and Mu Wang were all shrouded by the black fog. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom and the Northern Chill City could not see what was going on inside the black fog. The Black Fog Dharma spell is not a Dharma spell from the Pure Land world. Fu Laozi of the Northern Chill City frowned. Chapter 358. The Black Fog could not be destroyed. The many monsters born in the Black Fog had developed from simple snakes and insects to large monsters, and even a few puppets had appeared in the end. Moreover, their combat abilities were getting stronger. Although Mu Wang and Gue Ying kept attacking and the monsters could not hurt Sumo, they could not go on like this. Devil's Prison. Sumo frowned. The purple-robed cultivator's technique was indeed something. The black fog was getting thicker and thicker. Sumo had already started to form a seal. This situation could not go on. Otherwise, even if the spiritual qi in his danci did not dry up, it would also nourish the black fog. Wind Spirit Technique. Sumo formed a seal with both hands and shouted. This was an inherited technique from second senior brother Windmill. The wind that was summoned was not an ordinary wind. This was the first time Sumo used it. He was not sure if it would have any effect on the black fog in Devil's Prison. Whoosh! Sumo's technique was successful. Rays of golden light spread out and instantly transformed into thousands of runes. Each of the runes contained a mystical power. Whoosh! Whoosh! The wind from the runes was like a tornado covering the sky. The black fog around Sumo, Gue Ying, and Mu Wang was blown away by the wind. In an instant, an open area with a radius of tens of feet appeared. However, none of them saw the purple-robed cultivator. The surroundings seemed clear, but the Devil's Prison was not broken. This meant that they were still in the prison. Sumo frowned. The opponent's technique was indeed powerful. Although the black fog had dispersed, it did not disappear. When Sumo's Wind Spirit technique was over, it would definitely appear again. The Wind Spirit technique could only disperse the black fog temporarily. However, it could not solve the root of the problem. Devil's Prison, Devil Chi, Devil Chi. In the end, how could he break this spell? This technique was really hard to deal with. Sumo quickly thought of a solution. An idea flashed in her mind. It was related to the devil. He did have an artifact with him. Perhaps she could try. She opened the ragged bag. A black light flew out and was caught by Sumo. It was none other than Mo Zay's mysterious boat. Now, it had shrunk to the size of 7 inches and was quite exquisite. Devil-crossing fate, undying and indestructible. In fact, Sumo had only taken out the small boat to try her luck. However, as soon as the boat appeared, a black light flashed around it. At that moment, it was as if a parched land had suddenly received rain. Chi-chi, hiss, The black fog that had been dispersed earlier reappeared in an instant. However, this time, they did not appear to besiege and attack Sumo. Instead, they turned into streams and entered the boat. The ancient characters on the boat glowed with a black light. 3 feet above the boat, a black whirlpool with a diameter of 1 foot appeared. All the small streams converged into it and then poured into the boat. That scene was really beyond Sumo's expectations. King Mu's puppet possessed the power of the god-burying technique. The ghost shadow puppet had an extraordinary origin. He himself even had the windwheel inheritance. However, they were unable to completely break through the demonic fog just now. But as soon as the boat appeared, the world became clear again. On the Tianyu Plaza. In fact, only a moment had passed. When old Fu said that it wasn't a spell from the Pure Land, the other cultivators in the northern Chill City were a little surprised. It seemed that this battle was indeed beyond the scope of the Pure Land. At the same time, they were also worried about Sumo. After all, a battle between cultivators of the Undying State could determine life and death in an instant. No one could tell what was going on inside the black fog. If there was an accident, it had already happened. Guan Xiong's face was already as pale as a piece of paper, but now he looked even more serious. As for the 3 purple-robed cultivators, they were like wooden statues, standing there with their hands clasped together. It seemed that they hadn't won yet. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom were a little more confident. The cultivators in purple robes had indeed displayed extraordinary abilities. 3 cultivators of the Undying State. Even though they didn't understand the spells of the cultivators in purple robes, they could tell that Sumo was being suppressed. This was the moment when the Undying Kingdom had the upper hand in the 3 battles. The Dongfang tribe hoped that the cultivators in purple robes would kill Sumo directly. That way, they could save themselves a lot of trouble. However, at this moment, whoosh, bang, the 3 purple-robed cultivators shuddered and then hurriedly retreated. Looking again, the black fog suddenly exploded and golden runes filled the sky, sweeping towards the 3 purple-robed cultivators. It was the aftermath of the Wind Soul spell. Sumo broke out of the spell. The formation set up by 3 cultivators in purple robes couldn't trap him. As the black fog exploded, Sumo, Gui Ying, and Mu Wang had already pounced toward the 3 cultivators in purple robes. At this moment, the cultivator in purple robes was also shocked. His heavenly prison was a secret spell of the corpseless sect. It contained a trace of demonic qi. Even cultivators of the Undying Kingdom couldn't escape easily if they were trapped inside. How did Sumo get out? Moreover, he clearly felt a strong suction just now. Not only did it devour his demonic qi, but it also wanted to demonize all of his spirit qi. This was a situation that the cultivator in purple robes had never encountered before. Before he could think about it, Sumo had already rushed out with the 2 puppets. Mu Wang's sword was still the most powerful attack. He directly faced the cultivator in purple robes whose wrist had been cut off. The sword Light of the King pierced toward the cultivator in purple robes' heart. The cultivator in purple robes couldn't dodge at all, nor could he block Mu Wang's sword. However, the cultivator in purple robes didn't just sit and wait for death. He knew the weaknesses of many puppets. Therefore, when he realized that he couldn't dodge the sword, he already planned to perish together with his opponent. The moment Mu Wang's sword pierced through him, his hand that had just recovered suddenly turned into 5 wooden thorns. Of course, they weren't ordinary wooden thorns. It could be said that they were 5 sharp blades. Each of them was comparable to an immortal sword. At the same time, the other arm of the cultivator in purple robes had already turned into a long chain, trapping himself and Mu Wang's puppets. It was a way to perish together. However, his thinking was too simple. Qi, qi. The 5 thorns all pierced Mu Wang. Mu Wang's purple robe was instantly pierced. However, it couldn't go any deeper. Ka, ka. The 2 longest wooden spikes were actually broken. This was something the cultivator in purple robes didn't expect. Mu Wang's puppet did have the aura of a god burying realm cultivator. The The cultivator in purple robes had already noticed this. But how could the puppet have a body that he couldn't pierce through? He could also pierce through a god-burying realm cultivator's body. That's impossible. Could it be that this puppet possessed the body of an ancient god? The cultivator in purple robes didn't believe it. Unfortunately, the truth was right in front of him. Puff! King Moo's sword pierced through the purple-robed cultivator's heart. However, that wasn't the point. The cultivator in purple robes didn't have an immortal heart. Boom! Ka! Muwang's puppet's wrist shook. This was the most terrifying power. The god-burying sword aura exploded. Hua! The purple robe scattered. The Tianyu Plaza was littered with the cultivator's dismembered body. That scene caused the entire place to fall into dead silence. Chapter 359. The purple clothes were torn apart, and the corpses were scattered all over the ground. The puppet was made of something that looked like mud and wood, so it was hard to tell. However, it was definitely not made of ordinary flesh and blood, and there was not a single drop of blood. The cultivators in purple were really puppets, at least this one was. Although Sumo had just said that the cultivators in purple were puppets, and she had cut off one of their wrists. Not everyone believed Sumo's words. But at this moment, they believed it. The cultivators of the undead kingdom thought to themselves, the corpseless sect is indeed powerful. If the three cultivators in purple were all puppets, wouldn't the corpseless sect be able to create humans? A sect that could create humans? Just thinking about it made them shudder. At the same time, they were also shocked that Sumo, a mid-stage undead state cultivator, had not only broken the opponent's spell, but also destroyed a puppet at the perfect stage of the undead state. This kind of combat power was too terrifying. The cultivators of the northern Chill City were a little relieved. The scale of victory began to tilt in Sumo's favor. However, no one saw the black boat that Sumo had used just now, because he had already put it in his arms. At this moment, the other two cultivators in purple clothes didn't fight against Sumo and Ghost Shadow. Instead, they hurriedly retreated. In an instant, it was 2 against 3. Sumo, you are really powerful, the remaining cultivator in purple clothes said. However, Sumo still couldn't tell who made the sound. Admit defeat? Sumo said indifferently. You're thinking too much. One of the cultivators in purple clothes immediately made a hand seal, and the pieces of the puppet scattered on the square flew up. The hood of the purple-robed cultivator fell off, revealing a face full of scars. That face made people feel extremely uncomfortable. It was as if it had been chopped countless times and then stitched back together. It was all over the place, as if there were many centipedes crawling around. Everyone present was taken aback. Was that a cultivator or a puppet? If it was a cultivator, how badly was it injured? If it was a puppet, why did it look like that? Strictly speaking, it couldn't even be considered a face. He didn't even have eyes or a nose, only crisscrossing scars. Sumo's heart also trembled. The purple-robed cultivator finally revealed his appearance. Unexpectedly, however, he had this appearance. Looking again, the mouth on the face opened. Hu-woo! An extremely strong suction force formed a vortex in front of the purple-robed cultivator. The corpses of the puppets that were scattered all over the ground were all sucked in. Then, he was devoured by the scarred face. Chi! Ka! The purple-robed cultivator's purple robes began tearing apart. His body began to transform. There seemed to be a monster hidden under the purple clothes. Evolution. This puppet had devoured the corpse of another puppet, and it seemed to be completing an evolution. Sumo didn't move. He wanted to see what the other party had up his sleeve. Hoo-hoo! The purple robe scattered, and a leopard-headed, single-horned monster appeared. It was more than 10 feet tall. It raised its head to the sky and let out a long roar. Its teeth were like blades, and its body was like a bull. It had a pair of wings on its ribs, and its body was covered in scales. Its tail was like a long hook. Its body exuded an ancient aura. This is Gong Yanqing, the spirit cultivator who was the best at beast taming in northern Chill City, raised her eyebrows. Why did she feel like she had seen this puppet be somewhere before? But she couldn't remember. Sumo looked at the puppet beast in front of her. She also had a sense of déjà vu. Could it be that all monsters gave people the same feeling? At this moment, there was a person and a beast in front of Sumo, and the puppet beast was actually exuding the divine burial aura. A divine burial puppet. Sumo sneered. Same to you. Same to you. The remaining purple-robed cultivator also sneered. Sumo, you forced me to use the desolate soul beast puppet. That was already an accident. That puppet was called the desolate soul beast. When Gong Yanqing heard that, a bright light flashed in his eyes. Accident? Huh. Sumo waved her hand. Your accident is yet to come. Kill. This time, Sumo directly put away the ghost shadow, because the divine burial puppets could easily tear the ghost shadow to pieces. So, Sumo patted her storage bag, and Tao Yao and the life and death puppets all flew out. Whoosh, whoosh, the three divine burial puppets rushed toward the purple-robed cultivator and the desolate soul beast puppet. Sumo wanted to end this battle. Sumo led the three purple-clothed puppets and instantly formed an encirclement. No one, including the people of Northern Chill City, had expected such a change. Sumo disappeared from Northern Chill City for nearly a month, and when she reappeared, she was at the mid-stage, undead realm. No one knew what happened to Sumo. At this moment, when the three puppets with the divine burial aura appeared, even Guan Xiong gasped. Little Su actually used 3 god-burying puppets? Did this guy turn all the skeletons on him into divine burial puppets? Guan Xiong knew that Sumo could use a total of 18 puppets, including the white and golden ones. Just thinking about it was a bit terrifying. At this moment, the most shocked person was the purple-robed cultivator. The desolate soul beast puppet was at the late-stage divine burial realm. In fact, this was just a precautionary measure, and he didn't intend to use it. However, the level of Sumo's puppets exceeded his expectations. That King Mu's puppet was too powerful. That was why he used the desolate soul beast puppet. However, he didn't expect that with a wave of Sumo's hand, 2 more puppets would appear. 3 divine burial puppets. What exactly was Sumo's background? And how did he improve so much in such a short time? The purple-robed cultivator was puzzled, but Sumo and the puppets had arrived. King Mu and the life and death man went straight to the desolate soul beast puppet, while Sumo and Tao Yao went to the purple-robed cultivator. 2 against 1, Sumo's side had the absolute advantage. Sumo's 3 puppets each displayed their abilities. Needless to say, King Mu's sword. The life and death man waved the black and white banner in his hand, and in an instant, black fog burst out, accompanied by ghostly wails and wolf howls. Tao Yao stretched out her arm, and it seemed like thousands of withered branches wrapped around the purple-robed cultivator. Such a technique didn't belong in the Pure Land. Sumo, on the other hand, did not use any extraordinary moves. He still held the broken bamboo pole and pointed it at the purple-robed cultivator's forehead. Sumo still hadn't seen the appearance of the last purple-robed cultivator. But soon, Sumo would be able to see his true appearance. She only hoped that it wasn't a scarred face. This purple-robed cultivator must be a puppet. Sumo was certain. However, could he be a puppet like the one he had fought with Ghastly Shadow in the bet? The real master was 1,000 miles away. That would be too terrifying. And there weren't many who could do this. The corpseless sect. Actually, at this moment, whether it was Sumo, Guan Xiong, or the others, they were all certain. The force behind the Undying Kingdom must be the corpseless sect. This was because, unless one was like Sumo and possessed great fortune, it was impossible for any cultivator to possess so many powerful puppets. So, there was only one possibility. The Purple Rogue Cultivator was either a member of the corpseless sect or a puppet. Chapter 360. Boom, boom, roar. On the Tianyu Plaza, loud noises rang out incessantly. The battle between the desolate soul beast, King Mu, and the life and death puppet was earth-shaking and soul-stirring. The cultivators of the northern Chill City and the Undying Kingdom retreated. Many undying cultivators formed a protective isolation zone at the outermost edge of the barrier. The reason for that was because the god-burying formation was already damaged and could collapse at any moment. If the power of the divine burial barrier leaked during the battle, it would be enough to kill all cultivators below the deity tribulation stage. This battle could basically be regarded as the divine burial battle. After all, both sides had used their divine burial puppets. The three puppets each used their divine skills. Mystic lights shot into the sky, and they were locked in a stalemate. For a moment, they maintained a balance. Everyone knew that the battle between Sumo, Tao Yao, and the purple-robed cultivator was the key. There was a weakness in puppet battles. If the puppet master died, then the puppets connected to him would become useless. No matter how powerful the puppet was, it had to have a master. In other words, the life and death of the purple-robed cultivator or Sumo could directly affect the outcome of the battle. At this moment, the purple-robed cultivator was surrounded by Tao Yao's withered branches. However, Tao Yao's branches didn't tightly bind the purple-robed cultivator. Instead, they were like a cage, giving him a certain amount of space. Swish! Sumo's broken bamboo pole pierced through the air. Whoosh! But the purple-robed cultivator instantly formed a hand seal. A fierce purple flame suddenly rose from his body. The flame was 3 feet tall, strange and bewitching. Sumo sensed a strange aura coming from the purple-robed cultivator. This aura was familiar yet strange to Sumo. It was familiar because his aura was similar to Mu Wang, Tao Yao, and the life and death puppet. It was strange because his aura was completely different from theirs. The purple flames formed a purple barrier 3 feet away from the purple-robed cultivator. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. The broken bamboo pole was blocked by the purple barrier. There were purple flames on the inside and water on the outside. It was a miraculous spell. The broken bamboo pole couldn't advance any further. The purple-robed cultivator seemed to have protected himself in a purple flame ball. It was a defensive technique. Sumo raised an eyebrow. However, at that moment, the purple-robed cultivator's hood suddenly fell off on its own, revealing an extremely handsome face. It seemed that he no longer felt the need to hide himself. It was the face of a handsome man. However, his face was slightly gray, as if it was painted with a layer of gray paint. There was a flame mark between his eyebrows. It was a 7-colored flame, which seemed to be a special mark. The man's eyes were very special. He actually had a pair of fiery red eyes that looked like 2 balls of burning blood-red flames. Cultivator? That was what everyone outside the arena thought, because they had never seen such a lifelike puppet before. As far as they knew, it was impossible for that to be a puppet. However, Sumo could tell at a glance that it was a puppet. However, this puppet was of a rather high level. He was similar to those existences in Si-Yun Villa. Heavenly Peach Puppet, you can't kill me. The purple-robed cultivator's lips curled up, revealing a hint of charm. He knew the origin of Sumo's puppet. Whoosh, ha ha, ha ha. The Heavenly Peach Puppet let out a feminine laugh. However, that laugh made all the cultivators present extremely uncomfortable. Sumo's puppet could actually speak. Today, their horizons had been broadened. Other than laughing, the Heavenly Peach Puppet didn't say anything else. However, she revealed her lustful face and charming eyes. Her face was full of smiles. It was a smile that could turn all living things upside down. The Heavenly Peach Puppet was originally a demon. Ha ha, ha. Everyone present felt their hair stand on end when they heard the laughter. At that moment, the Heavenly Peach Puppet looked like a ghost. At the same time, the Heavenly Peach Puppet's arms did not stop moving. Chi. The tree prison had already formed and was currently compressing. The purple-robed cultivator was trapped 3 feet away from the Heavenly Peach Puppet, unable to escape. However, his expression was calm. Chi. The moment the Heavenly Peach Puppet's withered branches came into contact with the purple-robed cultivator's light shield, they sizzled and turned into green smoke. It seemed that the purple flames could restrain the Heavenly Peach Puppet's technique. Sumo raised an eyebrow. The other party recognized the heavenly peach puppet and was able to restrain it? The purple-robed cultivator sneered. You're just a heavenly peach puppet. Do you really think that you're a soulless, ancient heavenly peach puppet? Seven-colored divine flame, burn. As soon as the word burn was uttered, the flame mark between the purple-robed cultivator's eyebrows suddenly jumped. The seven-colored divine flame suddenly shot out from between his eyebrows. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. The seven-colored divine flame was like a rainbow. At that moment, the entire Heavenly Speech Plaza seemed to be crossed by a rainbow bridge. The rainbow bridge directly pierced through the Heavenly Speech Tower's withered tree prison. Hee hee. The purple-robed cultivator sneered. What a pity, a very good imitation. However, you simply can't contend against us resurrected puppets. The purple-robed cultivator's smile was natural and proud. Imitation? Resurrected puppets. Sumo heard it clearly, but he didn't know what it meant. However, he guessed that the puppets in Siyun Manor were probably the so-called resurrected puppets. However, as a resurrected puppet, the purple-robed cultivator's smile didn't last for even a second. This was because everything didn't develop as he had expected. Whoosh, chi-chi, the seven-colored divine flame was indeed domineering. In theory, everything formed by the flame could burn. However, at that moment, the seven-colored divine flame was rapidly dimming. On the other hand, Tao Yao's withered branch was not damaged at all. Moreover, there was a faint layer of golden light on the withered branch. The purple-robed cultivator's expression suddenly changed, and a black aura flashed across his gray face. He seemed to have not learned the lesson of the first puppet clone's death. Ancient golden body. But how was this possible? Just now, King Mu seemed to be in the same situation. Now, his seven-colored divine flame couldn't burn Tao Yao. There was only one possibility. The Tao Yao in front of him wasn't a puppet, but an ancient golden body. The ancient Tao Yao wasn't even afraid of the phoenix's heavenly fire. What about the seven-colored divine flame? Impossible. Perhaps the purple-robed cultivator didn't think too much about King Mu, because he still felt that victory was within his grasp. However, Tao Yao's situation shocked him greatly. A puppet. How could Su Mo possess an existence more powerful than the resurrection puppet? This was beyond his knowledge. Their ancient golden bodies had already been destroyed. Restoring the ancient golden body. That was something that even the god in his heart couldn't do. Reviving a puppet was already the limit. However, all these thoughts flashed through his mind in a flash. Because Sumo and Tao Yao didn't give him much time to think. The seven-color divine flame couldn't burn Tao Yao, so Tao Yao naturally had to counterattack. Ha ha! Ha ha! Tao Yao's eerie laughter echoed in the air. However, its withered branch was quickly retracting. Boom! Crack! The purple-robed cultivator's purple light shield was instantly shattered. Tao Yao's withered branch pierced through his body like thousands of roots. Chi-chi! Puff, puff! Purple blood instantly splattered, filling the air and splashing onto the square. Chapter 361. Tao Yao's spell locked onto the cultivator in purple. The power of the divine burial pierced through his body. Even at the moment of his death, the cultivator in purple couldn't believe it was true. A replica of Tao Yao could actually kill a resurrected puppet like him. It was unbelievable, but he had to believe it. Purple blood flowed out of his body. The cultivator in purple was unwilling, but the fire in his eyes was extinguishing bit by bit. Tao Yao's branch was still growing. The cultivator in purple couldn't fight back anymore. He stared at Sumo and Tao Yao with hatred in his eyes. God will bring me back to life. I will kill you. That sentence was filled with unwillingness, and it was filled with the taste of a curse. But the hatred before death couldn't kill the enemy. The words of the purple-robed cultivator made Su Mo sneer. But Sumo had a question in her mind. What was God? Was it the god the cultivator in purple talked about who made these puppets? Boom! Whoosh! The purple blood of the cultivator in purple seemed to have been sucked dry by Tao Yao's branch. The branch glowed with a purple light, and the cultivator in purple's body immediately split. At that moment, he broke like a piece of pottery. Whoosh! Everyone was in an uproar. The cultivators of the Undying Kingdom looked pale. The cultivators of the Northern Chill City heaved a sigh of relief. The desolate soul beast puppet, which had been fighting with King Mu and the life and death puppet, suddenly stood in the air. It was a puppet beast, and its eyes seemed to be carved from jade. They weren't real eyes, but there seemed to be a sense of loss in them. The cultivator in purple was dead, so his connection with the desolate soul beast was cut off, and the desolate soul beast had become an ownerless object. Sumo's mind moved. King Mu and the life and death puppet didn't attack again. They just sandwiched the desolate soul beast puppet in the middle. That was a late-stage god-burying realm puppet, so Sumo naturally could not let it fall into the hands of others. Sumo waved her hand, and a tattered bag appeared in the air. Whoosh! The bag opened, and the desolate soul beast puppet instantly shrank and was directly collected. The elders and dukes of the Undying Kingdom stared blankly at this scene. They were momentarily at a loss for what to do, because, in the third battle, the defeat of the corpseless faction was not within their expectations. Qin Yuyi's face darkened. Dongfang Fu's face was also ashen. The other elders and the lords of the four prefectures looked at each other. The people of the corpseless sect were actually defeated. How is this possible? In the eyes of the elders of the Undying Kingdom, the corpseless sect was an omnipotent existence. At this moment, Sumo waved her hand. King Mu, Tao Yao, and the life and death man returned to Sumo's body in a flash. Then, Sumo rushed towards the direction of the Undying Kingdom and coldly said, "Third round, Northern Chill City wins." For a moment, the whole place was silent. Northern Chill City wins the third round. Sumo repeated. Guan Xiong sneered with a pale face on the Northern Chill City's side. Other than Chun Jianfeng, who had yet to awaken, the others were also watching with cold eyes. At this moment, Qin Yu hurriedly gave Fang Zheng a look. Fang Zheng understood and floated down to the Tianyu Plaza. He pretended to be calm and laughed. "Congratulations to the friends of the Northern Chill City. In the 3 battles, your city won 2 and lost 1. We, the Undying Kingdom, admit defeat. I admire you." "Admire you? Huh?" Fang Zheng laughed awkwardly. Sumo didn't say anything. She just listened to him. Fang Zheng was hoping that Sumo would say something, but he didn't expect that Sumo would just stand there and not say anything. He was pushed on a stage by Qin Yu. He could only continue to say, "Before, we agreed that we would win 2 out of 3 battles. Now, the Northern Chill City has won. We, the Undying Kingdom, will definitely keep our promise and give you 3 god-burying divine weapons." 3 god-burying divine weapons might be nothing to the Northern Chill City, but for the Undying Kingdom, it was definitely a national treasure. Even an early-stage god-burying divine weapon wasn't something that the Undying Kingdom could easily take out. It should be said that the Undying Kingdom was quite sincere when they made the bet. They only want an apology and the Inkshine rare treasure. Unfortunately, they didn't need anything now. 3 god-burying divine weapons. The heavenly speech square instantly became noisy. After all, many of the Undying Kingdom's cultivators had never seen such rare treasures in their lives, and this time, they lost 3 of them. All the decisions of the Undying Kingdom came from the Elder Council. Therefore, some ordinary cultivators didn't even know the inside story. Now, when they heard that they really had to pay 3 god-burying divine weapons, they couldn't help but cry out in pain. However, they didn't dare to say anything. Moreover, Sumo killed 2 Undying Realm Perfected Realm cultivators just now. It seemed that they had no choice but to give them. Unless the 2 god-burying old ancestors of the Undying Kingdom took action, no one could suppress Sumo. Ha ha! At this moment, Qin Yui laughed. Elder Fong is right. 3 god-burying divine weapons. We will send them to you soon. Fellow Taoists of the Northern Chill City, please come to the Heavenly Speech Palace for a chat. Qin Yu was the first elder of the Undying Kingdom. His words carried enormous weight. His laughter instantly suppressed the clamor of the Undying Kingdom. At the same time, it also showed the final attitude of the Undying Kingdom. Peace was the most precious, to keep the peace. After the 3 battles, he had clearly seen that the Northern Chill City was definitely not an existence that the Undying Kingdom could touch. Even the 2 god-burying old ancestors of the Heavenly Cloud Palace and the Dongfang clan were definitely no match for the Northern Chill City. Especially the defeat of the cultivator in a purple robe at the end, it was a huge blow to him. In his opinion, at least in the Undying realm, the corpseless sect was inferior to the Northern Chill City. Moreover, he clearly heard the conversation between the cultivator in a purple robe and Sumo, but he didn't understand what they were talking about. Obviously, the cultivator in a purple robe wanted different things from the Undying Kingdom. He had known that the Undying Kingdom was being used. However, he now felt that the Undying Kingdom might have chosen the wrong side. Qin Yu understood that if the corpseless sect couldn't support the Undying Kingdom, they could only compromise and retreat. Compared to the entire Undying Kingdom, 3 god-burying divine weapons were nothing. Therefore, Qin Yu stood up and said something. To some extent, his words could represent the attitude and will of the entire Undying Kingdom. However, after Qin Yu's words, no one from the Northern Chill City said anything. Qin Jianfeng was unconscious and couldn't speak. Bai Yuesheng, Gong Yangqing, Gong Yangkong, and Old Fu didn't want to say anything at all. Guan Xiong looked at Sumo, because Sumo was the last one to stand on the stage. And Sumo was actually waiting for Guan Xiong to speak. After all, this was a competition in the name of the Northern Chill City, and Guan Xiong was the deputy envoy of the Northern Chill City. So, no one answered for a moment. In fact, it was only a moment. However, it made the cultivators of the Undying Kingdom feel extremely depressed. It was as if the Northern Chill City was pressuring them on purpose. The entire Tianyu Square was silent. Fang Zheng looked embarrassed, and Qin Yu looked very serious. Sumo turned around and looked at Guan Xiong. The meaning of her look was obvious. Fatty, you're the deputy envoy of the Northern Chill City, and you're not dead yet. Say something. Guan Xiong was dazed for a bit and then replied, "You're on the stage, so say it. My divine soul is already damaged, and you're still making me so tired?" Despite the look, Guan Xiong still felt that it was more appropriate for him to say a lot of things. So, Guan Xiong tried to stay awake and squinted his eyes. "Elder Fong, if I remember correctly, when you issued the challenge, I made it clear that if the Northern Chill City won, I'll take 11 heads from the Undying Kingdom. But I still need 10 more. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.